In the ancient world, stories held power. For the Romans, myths were more than just tales, they were the pulse of their lives, woven into every part of their world. Myths explained the vast, unpredictable forces of nature, the sweeping events of war and peace, and the fragile line between fate and free will. In the Roman world, gods and heroes didn't exist only in sacred temples or grand statues, they were part of every step, breath, and heartbeat. Roman mythology was a vast tapestry, drawing from older cultures like the Greeks and Etruscans, but adding its own spirit. The Romans revered their gods with fierce loyalty, often seeing them as family, protectors, and guides. Jupiter, mighty and strong, was the father of gods and men, his thunderbolts a reminder of his watchful presence. Mars, the god of war, fueled the courage of soldiers on the battlefield. Vesta, goddess of the hearth, symbolized the warmth of home and family. These gods weren't distant, they walked among the people, a reminder that life's grand and simple moments were always under their gaze. But the gods weren't alone. Alongside them were mysterious creatures, beings that moved in shadows, in the whispers of the forest, and the stormy skies. For the Romans, these mythological creatures made the world feel alive and charged with secrets. There were the shadows that flickered beyond the firelight, the winds that howled in deserted places, the mysterious sounds heard on a quiet night. The Romans saw these creatures as part of the delicate balance of their world, neither purely good nor evil. Some, like the fauns, had the playful nature of forests and springs. With the upper body of a man and the legs of a goat, fauns were said to be mischievous, often luring travelers off their paths. Their laughter echoed through the woods, their music drifting in the breeze, adding a strange beauty to the silence of ancient forests. They symbolized the wild, untamed spirit of nature, a force that was unpredictable yet essential to life. Other creatures were far more fearsome. The Harpies, for example, were winged spirits with the face of a woman and the body of a bird. Known to swoop down on the helpless and snatch away what they pleased, Harpies were feared as bringers of punishment and carriers of lost souls. When storms raged across the sea, sailors looked to the skies, fearful that Harpies would appear in the whipping winds. Their shrill cries echoed the sounds of thunder, and their presence reminded the Romans of the thin line between life and death. Harpies were symbols of vengeance, creatures summoned to remind mortals that there was always a price for wrongdoing. Their power was terrifying, yet oddly beautiful, embodying the mystery of divine justice that was impossible to escape. The Romans also believed in creatures like the Hydra, a monstrous serpent with many heads, each one growing back if cut off. The Hydra represented struggles that couldn't be easily defeated, reflecting the constant challenges in life that never seemed to end. Warriors took tales of the Hydra to heart, understanding that even the fiercest battles required both strength and cunning. Every Roman who faced hardship could see a part of themselves in these creatures, recognizing that life was a fight, a journey that required resilience and bravery. Even more haunting was the Chimera, a creature with the body of a lion, the head of a goat rising from its back, and the tail of a serpent. The Chimera breathed fire, a terror that roamed through nightmares and tales alike. It was a creature no one could fully comprehend, a being of chaos, both fascinating and horrifying. In the Chimera's existence, Romans saw a reflection of their own inner conflicts and fears, the idea that sometimes the monsters we face are within us, and fighting them is both painful and necessary. Every myth, every creature, spoke to the Romans' desire to make sense of the world. These beings, half human, half wild, held a mirror to humanity, showing both its beauty and flaws. The Romans believed in the delicate balance of order and chaos, a world where every shadow had its purpose, every fear a lesson. Creatures like the Harpies, Hydra, and Chimera weren't merely legends, they were the embodiment of human challenges, the reflection of the human spirit in its rawest form. Roman mythology was steeped in reverence for nature's power and its unpredictability. Rivers, forests, mountains, all were places where gods and spirits could dwell. When Romans ventured into unknown lands or crossed rivers, they would often make offerings, acknowledging the spirits that dwelled there. They believed that every part of nature had its guardian, a force that watched over and protected it. This respect wasn't out of fear alone, but from a profound sense of connection to the world around them. The creatures of their mythology were reminders that everything in nature, from the fiercest beast to the gentlest brook, was sacred and deserving of respect. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of Roman mythology was how it tied each person to something larger than themselves. Farmers prayed to Ceres, goddess of the harvest, asking for her blessing on their crops. Soldiers marching to war sought the favor of Mars, hoping for strength and protection. Each creature and god had a role, and every role had meaning. The Romans lived in a world filled with signs and omens, and these mythological beings were constant reminders that the world was alive with purpose. The myths brought the Romans comfort, courage, and caution. They reminded the people that the world was vast, that every breeze, every whisper, and every shadow held a story, a message, a warning. The Harpies' shriek, the Hydra's many heads, the Chimera's fiery breath, all of these became symbols of the forces that shaped the lives of those who believed. For the Romans, myth wasn't just a story but a part of their heart, a voice that spoke in the quiet moments, reminding them that there was always something greater at work, something beyond mere human understanding. In the ancient skies, where the sun fought to break through dark clouds, there was a terror that struck the hearts of all who saw it, the Harpy. To hear the name was to feel a chill, a whisper of something fierce and untamed, a creature born of storm and shadow. They were messengers of vengeance, fierce and relentless, swift as the wind and cold as winter rain. They were neither fully human nor fully animal but rather something in between, a haunting mixture that felt disturbingly close yet infinitely beyond. Harpies were known for their striking form, a vision half beautiful and half monstrous. They were said to have the faces of women, often with wild, intense eyes, their hair tangled like the branches of an ancient forest. Some believed that they were beautiful once, but their beauty was twisted, marred by something otherworldly. Their bodies were those of great birds, their wings powerful and wide, carrying them across seas and skies with impossible speed. Their talons, sharp as the edge of a blade, were capable of tearing through flesh and bone, making even the bravest of warriors falter at the thought of their touch. Their voices were piercing, said to carry both fury and sorrow in a single note. Those who heard them from afar might have mistaken them for a storm gathering strength or the distant cries of seabirds. But up close, their voices were a harsh scream, like the wailing of lost souls, a sound that could freeze a person's blood. The air around them grew thick and heavy, and the earth seemed to darken in their presence. In every tale, they brought with them a chill, an omen of suffering and loss. To the Romans, Harpies were far more than mere monsters. They represented punishment, a force sent by the gods to remind humans of the cost of wrongdoing. When someone committed a grave sin, something that angered the gods, it was often said that the Harpies would be unleashed. They would swoop down without warning, snatching away not just food or treasure but hope itself. They were bringers of despair, creatures of reckoning, a reminder that justice, though invisible and silent, was always waiting. Romans believed that no wrong would go unpunished, and the Harpies were a living, terrifying embodiment of this truth. In Greek tales, however, the Harpies took on a slightly different tone. They were still fierce, still relentless, but they also held a mysterious connection to nature. The Greeks saw them as spirits of the wind, creatures who rode on the gusts, swift and unpredictable as a sudden storm. They were believed to live at the edge of the world, in places where humans dared not go. Some even thought that they guarded the entrance to the underworld, escorting lost souls or carrying them away from the land of the living. The Greek Harpies were beings of transition, creatures that marked the line between life and death, seen less as instruments of punishment and more as spirits of fate, unstoppable and merciless in their own way. For the Romans, though, the Harpies held an even darker purpose. They were feared as omens of starvation and loss. In one of the most famous tales in Roman mythology, the hero Aeneas encountered the Harpies while searching for a new home. As he and his men prepared a meal, the Harpies swooped down and snatched their food away, leaving only filth and despair in their wake. Each attempt to eat was thwarted by the Harpies, who taunted them, shrieking of a curse yet to come. This encounter wasn't simply an act of malice, it was a warning, a dark reminder of a destiny filled with suffering. The Romans saw in this story a message that hardship and struggle were unavoidable, that even the strongest heroes must face loss before reaching their promised land. But for all their fury and terror, there was something more profound about the Harpies. They weren't merely monsters, nor were they without purpose. To the Romans, they were agents of the gods' will, existing beyond the reach of mortal understanding, with a purpose that was both fearsome and essential. In a world filled with uncertainty, where fortunes changed as quickly as the tides, the Harpies were a reminder of life's unpredictability. They appeared without warning, took what they wanted, and left devastation in their wake, yet they never acted without cause. The Romans believed that every encounter with a Harpy was a lesson, a reminder that the gods watched all deeds, and no wrong could be hidden forever. While the Greeks saw a certain wild beauty in the Harpies as spirits of the storm, the Romans' view was harsher, colder, as if they knew that beauty and brutality could exist together without contradiction. The Harpies weren't bound by human concepts of fairness or kindness, they were beyond it, existing in a space where vengeance was simply part of their nature. To face a Harpy was to be reminded of the fragile nature of peace, the thin line between comfort and ruin. For those who understood this, the Harpies were almost sacred, terrifying, yes, but also strangely necessary, a reminder of the power and the balance that kept the world turning. In every myth, every story, Harpies held a power that was more than physical. Their presence was a reminder of things that lay hidden, things that no one could control or predict. They came as fierce winds, their eyes reflecting the ancient wisdom of the gods, a knowledge that life was a delicate balance of order and chaos. They reminded mortals that peace could turn to ruin in an instant, that life's comforts were always fleeting. And so, the Romans lived in both fear and reverence of these creatures. The Harpy was no mere character in a story, it was a symbol of life's cruelty and its unbreakable beauty, a haunting reminder that the forces of nature and destiny were beyond anyone's command. To encounter a Harpy, even in stories, was to feel the brush of something ancient, something that was neither good nor evil, but something that simply was, a being that could soar through skies, haunt the winds, and remind all who crossed its path of the forces that shaped the world and all within it. In the echoes of ancient language, there is a name that carries a shiver, a name that feels like the rustle of wings in the dark, Harpy. The word itself is sharp and fierce, almost like a warning, a sound that lingers with the weight of something fierce and powerful. It doesn't simply describe, it embodies the essence of the creature, something swift, something unstoppable, something that grasps and does not let go. To say Harpy is to feel a touch of fear, a sense of awe, and a reminder of things beyond control. The term Harpy finds its roots in ancient Greek, in the word ropaiupsilon-iota-alpha, harpaia, which means snatcher or swift robber. There is a rawness in this word, a sense of taking, a fierce, unbreakable force. It calls to mind hands that reach and wings that beat, a hunger that cannot be denied. To the Greeks, this name suited the creature perfectly, for Harpies were said to swoop down from the heavens, snatching away whatever they wished, leaving behind only fear and desolation. In a world that depended on the mercy of nature, the Harpy's name felt like an omen, a reminder that safety could vanish in an instant. The Greek word itself is believed to have come from the verb ropaizetai-epsilon-iota-nu, Harpasian, which means to seize or to carry off. To seize, that very word captures something primal, a force that takes hold of life itself. It's not a gentle act, it's a violent, unstoppable action. The ancient Greeks lived in constant awareness of the god's power, of storms that could turn the calm sea deadly in a heartbeat. The Harpy's name, rooted in this fierce word, was not just a description but a promise of their nature, a being that could never be reasoned with, a force that struck and was gone, leaving nothing but the shadow of its wings in the sky. As the term traveled from Greek mythology into Roman culture, it carried with it these layers of fear and respect. In Latin, the term harpaia was retained, keeping that harsh, hissing H sound, almost as if to mimic the wind itself. Romans, with their belief in order and control, must have felt the sting of the Harpy's name, a reminder that there were things that could never be tamed. The Romans feared and respected their gods with a fierce devotion, and in adopting the Harpy, they took on not only the name but also the sense of wildness and mystery it carried. Yet, in Latin, there was another layer of meaning, hidden in the word rapier, meaning to snatch or to ravish. This word, too, has roots in violence and the idea of sudden, brutal capture. To snatch is not to gently take, but to grasp with urgency, with an almost desperate hunger. Harpies, in their nature, were creatures who embodied this idea, a spirit that descended like the swift, unyielding pull of fate itself. Romans knew that, like fate, the Harpies could not be reasoned with. They came as they pleased, leaving devastation behind. Even the sound of the word harpy feels like something sharp, something that cuts through silence like a storm tearing through the sea. The H hisses, the R rolls with a rough edge, and the P lands like a final blow. To speak it aloud is to feel its weight, its power, a name that isn't simply spoken but felt, lingering in the air like a shadow. There's a reason the word survives, even today, to describe someone whose presence is overwhelming, whose spirit is fierce, relentless, and sometimes cruel. The Harpy's name has stayed with us, woven into language itself, carrying the ancient fears and awe of those who first whispered it. In both Greek and Latin, the roots of harpy are linked to words of force, of taking, and of something that moves beyond human control. To the ancient people, words held power, and names carried a sense of the creature's essence. The Harpy's name wasn't just a label, it was a warning, a reminder of forces that could never be controlled or tamed. The ancient poets and storytellers spoke this name with caution, understanding that to name a harpy was to acknowledge its power, to invite the terror it carried. In each language, the harpy's name served as a link to something larger, something mysterious and terrifying. Every time it was spoken, it reminded people of the sudden, fierce grip of nature, of life's fragility, and of the inevitability of fate. Those who called on the harpy's name were reminded of storms that came without warning, of the piercing cry that broke through the quiet, of wings that blotted out the sky. The word harpy wasn't just a name, it was a memory of fear, a ghost of awe, and a symbol of life's untamable forces. In the earliest pages of ancient literature, long before the Romans took their place in history, there were whispers of beings that flew like shadows across the skies, creatures feared for their wrath, known for their wild, unstoppable hunger. They were the Harpies, beings that haunted the words of poets and the minds of those who dared to speak of them. In Greek texts, they are first mentioned not just as creatures but as warnings, symbols of punishment and relentless fate. To read about them was to feel a chill, a reminder of forces beyond human control, swift as the storm and as merciless as fate. One of the first appearances of harpies in literature was in Homer's Iliad, an epic that still stirs the soul with its tales of heroism, love, and war. In it, harpies are mentioned as being sent by the gods to carry off souls, taking them swiftly into the unknown, as if they were mere whispers on the wind. They were the messengers of death, their wings the embodiment of swift fate, their presence both feared and respected. To Homer's audience, the very thought of harpies symbolized the gods' power to change lives in a moment, to snatch away hope and leave silence in their wake. The harpy was more than just a creature, it was the feeling of life's fragility, that terrifying knowledge that fate could turn at any instant. Later, the Greek poet Hesiod gave the harpies more form, more life, in his Theogony. Hesiod wrote of them as sisters, known for their beauty as well as their terrifying nature. Named Aello and Ocypete, they were described as swift and graceful, with wings that could carry them faster than the wind itself. But this beauty was a trap, a disguise for their true nature. To Hesiod, they weren't merely physical beings, they were spirits of the storm, wild forces of nature. As he wrote, the harpies were born of the sea and sky, their spirits caught between earth and heavens, bound to no one and nothing. They were fury and beauty woven together, beings that reminded mortals of life's strange balance, of how even the most beautiful things could bring destruction. One of the most haunting stories of the Harpies comes from Apollonius of Rhodes, a poet who wove tales filled with longing and dread. In his epic Argonautica, he tells of the hero Phineus, a man cursed by the gods to endure a life of torment. Each day, Phineus would prepare a meal, only to have the Harpies descend upon him like shadows, snatching his food away, leaving him with only scraps and the stench of decay. These Harpies were not simply thieves, they were punishment itself, agents of divine justice that came without mercy. Apollonius described their approach with words that felt like a shudder, as if the very air grew heavier, darker, in their presence. They were the carriers of despair, and Phineas's agony was to be his fate, unending and unyielding. As the tales of the Greeks made their way to Rome, the Harpies took on an even darker form, becoming symbols of doom and decay. The Romans saw in these stories the harsh reminder that the gods could never be appeased completely, that punishment could come without warning, fierce and unrelenting. In Virgil's Aeneid, the Harpies are woven into the destiny of Aeneas, a hero marked by loss and suffering. Virgil's Harpies are fiercer, darker than those of the Greeks. They haunt the journey of Aeneas and his men, coming down upon them with cries that are shrill and cold, wings that beat like the approach of death itself. One of the most vivid scenes in the Aeneid is Aeneas's encounter with Celaeno, the leader of the Harpies. In Virgil's words, Celaeno's presence feels like an omen, a curse that would mark the journey of Aeneas and his men. She speaks to Aeneas with a voice that is neither fully human nor fully animal, a voice that echoes with fury and prophecy. She curses them, telling them they will face hunger so fierce they will eat their own tables before they reach their new home. Her words are filled with darkness, and in that moment, the Harpies become not just physical threats but reminders of fate's cruelty, the haunting knowledge that suffering is often woven into destiny. To the Romans, the Harpies were beings of divine wrath, creatures that brought reminders of the gods' watchful eyes. While the Greeks saw them as spirits of the wind and storm, the Romans took this imagery further, transforming them into symbols of hunger and decay. In Roman literature, the Harpy was no longer just a messenger of the gods, but a physical embodiment of dread and punishment. They saw in the Harpies the reflection of Rome's own struggles, its battles and losses, its hunger for power and fear of divine retribution. The Roman poets didn't soften the Harpies, they amplified them, describing their talons as weapons that could rip through flesh and their cries as sounds that pierced the heart. The Romans understood that the Harpies represented a darker truth, the inevitability of fate, the price of ambition, and the unyielding nature of divine justice. To speak of a Harpy was to speak of suffering, of a hunger that could never be satisfied, of the endless cycle of loss and longing that marked the human condition. In the end, these early texts and stories didn't just describe the Harpies, they transformed them, making them creatures that haunted the minds of those who read and remembered. Each poet, from Homer to Virgil, added to the Harpy story, layering them with symbolism, fear, and power. They were reminders of forces that humans could never conquer, of the strange beauty and horror that life could bring. And as long as these stories were told, the Harpies would live on, soaring through the skies of ancient literature, a haunting memory of fate's unbreakable grip on the hearts of mortals. In the silent, candlelit temples of ancient Rome, where the air was thick with incense and whispers, there was a presence that lingered like a shadow. To speak of the Harpies in these sacred places was to invite the weight of something dark and powerful. They were not the benevolent spirits that brought good fortune, they were fierce, relentless beings who served as reminders of justice and fate. While Romans feared the Harpies, they also respected them, believing that these terrifying creatures served a purpose in the divine order, one that could not be ignored or taken lightly. The Harpies, in the world of Roman religion, were seen as agents of vengeance, sent by the gods to punish and to purify. When a family was struck by misfortune, when crops withered in the fields, or when a long-lost treasure vanished, the Romans saw the silent hand of the gods moving through the Harpies. These beings, who came with wings of shadow and talons sharp as daggers, were not simply creatures but messengers of fate, reminders that divine justice was everywhere and unyielding. To the Romans, ignoring a Harpy was unthinkable. It was as if one was turning away from the very essence of fate itself. In religious practices, the Harpies were often invoked in times of wrongdoing or injustice. The Romans believed that if a soul was burdened with guilt or weighed down by lies, the Harpies would come like storm winds, stripping away pretense and leaving only the truth. To those who held secrets, to those who had done harm, the Harpies were not just a warning, they were the hand of the gods reaching down to seize, to reveal, to punish. Their appearance in rituals was rare, reserved for moments when the air was thick with unanswered questions, when the gods themselves seemed to demand justice. Romans also saw a connection between the Harpies and the spirits of the dead, the shades that wandered the underworld, restless and unseen. In their silent, mournful presence, there was a kinship with those lost souls who had not found peace, as if the Harpies were carrying the weight of their cries, their unhealed sorrows. And so, in moments of great loss, when a loved one had passed with unfinished business, the Harpies would sometimes be invoked in whispers, an appeal for justice, a plea for closure, a wish for the release of those lost souls. The Harpies were linked to deities of justice and vengeance, and most closely associated with Nemesis, the goddess of retribution. Like Nemesis, they were neither entirely good nor entirely evil, but existed in that strange, terrifying space between, where justice took forms that humans could barely understand. To call upon the Harpies in connection with Nemesis was to bring forth a force that was fierce and unstoppable. Those who prayed to Nemesis knew that to invoke her was to ask for a fate that could not be revoked, a reckoning that would strike like lightning and leave only ashes. The Harpies, as her silent, relentless agents, were feared and respected, carrying out her will without hesitation. In many Roman beliefs, the Harpies were also seen as sisters to the Furies, those fierce goddesses who pursued the guilty with unrelenting passion. Together, they embodied forces of divine justice, acting as reminders of what happened to those who dared to offend the gods. The Furies, with their endless pursuit, and the Harpies, with their sudden, fierce presence, were two sides of the same divine force. They represented a justice that never slept, a punishment that waited patiently and struck without mercy. Those who had wronged others, who had betrayed trust or broken vows, knew that both the Furies and the Harpies might one day come for them, appearing like a dark storm on the horizon, impossible to escape. In private rituals, Romans sometimes made offerings to appease the Harpies, hoping to keep them at bay, to ward off the misfortune they carried with them. Small tokens, grains, and bits of food would be left outside, as if to bribe these spirits and keep their hunger satisfied. To ignore this custom was to invite bad luck, to bring upon oneself the wrath of beings who respected neither wealth nor power. It was not a matter of fear alone, it was an ancient understanding that the Harpies needed to be honored, for they, too, were part of the delicate balance between the world of mortals and the realm of the gods. And when the storms would come, dark and wild, rattling the windows and shaking the rooftops, the Romans would sometimes think of the Harpies, believing that they were the force behind those fierce winds. It was as if the heavens themselves were stirred, as if the gods were sending the Harpies down to remind them of the power that lay just beyond the reach of human understanding. In those moments, there was no laughter, no joy, only a quiet, shivering respect for the spirits that roamed above, untamed and unyielding. For the Romans, the Harpies were not just mythical beings, they were a reminder of the unseen forces that governed life and death. They served as a warning, a caution to live with respect for the gods, for the natural order, for the invisible threads that held the world together. Every prayer, every offering, every whispered invocation to the Harpies carried the weight of ancient belief, a sense that these beings were watching, waiting, and ready to carry out their purpose. To call upon the Harpies was to invite fate itself, to bring the presence of the gods into one's life, knowing that the justice they brought was fierce and final. In the quiet of the temples and the shadows of the Roman night, the Harpies were there, unseen but always felt. Their presence was a mystery that demanded respect, a reminder that the gods saw all, and that in the end, justice would find its way. They were the guardians of fate, the avengers of wrongs, and the fierce spirits that swept through the lives of mortals, leaving fear and reverence in their wake. And in the hearts of the Romans, there was an understanding, a solemn acceptance that the Harpies, fierce and wild, were part of the world's balance, a force that no one could ever hope to tame. The story of the Harpies in Virgil's Aeneid is not just a tale of fearsome creatures, it is a moment that feels like the world holding its breath, a warning woven deeply into the journey of Aeneas. These aren't simply monsters, they are harbingers of suffering and fate, terrifying messengers who leave a haunting sense of dread that lingers over the hero's path. When Aeneas and his weary men encounter the Harpies on their journey to Italy, it feels as though the very forces of the gods are reaching down to challenge their strength, to test their will, and to remind them that fate is not a path of ease. In this part of the Aeneid, Aeneas and his people are desperate, seeking a respite from the endless trials that have plagued them since the fall of Troy. They find themselves on the Strophades, a small cluster of islands, and finally, they see food, a rare sight after so much hardship. The men are hungry, exhausted, and hopeful that perhaps, at last, they have found a place to rest. But just as they begin to eat, a chill falls over the scene. The food vanishes from their hands, snatched away as if by unseen claws, and a darkness fills the sky. Suddenly, they are no longer alone, they are in the presence of the Harpies. With wings that beat like thunder, the Harpies descend, a terrible vision of feathered fury and shrieking cries. They have the bodies of vultures and the faces of women, twisted and fierce. Their shrieks pierce the silence, filling the men with a dread that feels deeper than any battle. These aren't ordinary creatures, they carry a sense of divine rage, as if they are woven from the very essence of anger and despair. The men's hunger turns to horror as they realize they are not meant to be here, not meant to find rest in this place. The Harpies descend upon them again and again, snatching food from their hands, leaving a stench that clings to the air, tainting any thought of comfort. Among the Harpies, one stands out, a creature named Selino, whose name itself seems to carry weight and darkness. She is not just a Harpy, she is their leader, a voice of terrible authority. With a piercing, almost mocking cry, she turns to Aeneas and his men and delivers a prophecy that strikes them to the core. Her words are not merely a threat, they feel like a curse, a heavy shroud that settles over their hearts. She tells them that before they reach Italy, they will be so starved that they will consume even the tables upon which they eat. This isn't just hunger she's describing, it's a desperation so deep that it eats away at their very souls. Selino's curse is more than a prediction of suffering, it's a reminder that their journey is bound to the will of the gods. She speaks with a conviction that feels final, like the closing of a door they can never open again. This curse lingers over Aeneas and his men as they continue on their path, a dark shadow that shapes their actions, filling them with an anxiety they can't shake. Selino and her sisters become more than creatures, they are symbols of destiny's merciless grip, reminders that even the bravest heroes are not exempt from suffering. In the Aeneid, the Harpies serve a purpose beyond terror, they represent the inevitability of fate, the way that suffering and trials are woven into the very fabric of Aeneas's journey. No matter how fiercely he fights, no matter how brave his men are, they cannot escape what has been ordained. The Harpies are almost like the gods' way of reminding Aeneas that this journey will demand every ounce of his strength, that he must face not only physical battles, but also battles of endurance, battles of the soul. In the presence of these terrifying creatures, Aeneas is forced to confront the reality that fate does not bend for anyone, not even for a hero. For Virgil, the Harpies are symbols of Rome's own destiny, a destiny built on sacrifice, resilience, and the unshakable will to survive even the harshest of trials. Just as Rome rose from blood and ashes, so too must Aeneas rise from the hardships he faces. In a way, the Harpies are a brutal reminder of the cost of greatness. Their curse is not simply a punishment, it is a necessary part of the journey, a trial that Aeneas must endure if he is to fulfill his destiny. The curse of the Harpies becomes a haunting echo of Rome's own foundation, a reminder that the path to glory is carved through darkness and loss. As the men leave the Strophades, the Harpies' shrieks seem to linger in the air, their voices echoing the prophecy of Selino, like a storm that refuses to fade. Even as they move forward, their hearts carry the weight of her words, the knowledge that they are bound to a destiny filled with suffering. The encounter with the Harpies changes them, marking them in a way that no battle ever could. It leaves a scar that runs deeper than flesh, a memory of fear and hunger that will stay with them long after they've reached Italy. The Harpies in the Aeneid are more than myth, they are reminders of fate's indomitable power, of the resilience required to endure, and of the sacrifices demanded by destiny. Their curse is a shadow that follows Aeneas, a reminder that even the strongest must bow to the will of the gods. In the shrieks of the Harpies, there is a strange, terrifying beauty, a force that speaks to the heart of every journey, every struggle, and every sacrifice that brings us closer to what we are meant to be. In the ancient world, the Harpies were no ordinary creatures. They haunted the pages of Roman texts, their presence dark and foreboding, breathing life into stories that left readers with an uneasy chill. Different authors painted them in shifting shades, sometimes as winged terrors, other times as haunting symbols of divine punishment. These fearsome beings seemed to possess an essence beyond words, a force that leapt off the pages and clung to the imaginations of all who encountered them. Whether it was Ovid or Seneca, the Harpies came alive in whispers and shadows, eternal reminders of fate's relentless grip. In Ovid's work, the Harpies appear as creatures not just to be feared but to be pitied. Their twisted beauty, fierce yet sorrowful, takes on a more tragic note, as though they themselves are bound by a fate as unbreakable as the destinies they impose on others. Ovid's Harpies are both victims and villains, caught in a cycle of judgment they can never escape. He seems to see in them a warning, a reminder of the dangers of forgetting mercy, of turning too quickly to vengeance. The stories he weaves show the Harpies as reminders that the gods do not wield power lightly, that divine wrath has an enduring, sorrowful weight. Seneca, on the other hand, describes the Harpies with a raw and intense focus. His Harpies are brutal in their purpose, almost vengeful in their need to punish. Their talons, sharp and deadly, represent an unflinching justice, as if their very existence is designed to enforce the laws of the gods without mercy. In Seneca's writing, the Harpies take on a form that chills the heart, agents of divine retribution that see nothing, feel nothing, but the need to set wrongs right. In his portrayal, they are like the storm that crashes down upon the guilty, indiscriminate and unstoppable, a force that cannot be reasoned with or swayed. As these Harpies appear in different Roman texts, we can feel how each author's words capture a unique glimpse into their nature. To one, they may represent suffering, to another, justice, to some, perhaps, even fear itself. Yet beneath every word, every description, there lies a common thread, the Harpies as powerful beings on the threshold of the divine, whose duty is to fulfill the fate assigned to them. They carry with them the weight of lives ruined and secrets revealed, a haunting force woven into the very fabric of the ancient world. In some tales, the Harpies are portrayed as merciless, their presence almost ghostly, drifting between worlds as they serve the will of the gods. In others, they embody the wrath of nature itself, as relentless as the storm, tearing through anything that dares to stand in their path. Across these stories, the Harpies adapt, shifting like shadows, becoming what each story needs them to be. But in every portrayal, they evoke a strange and undeniable sadness, a tragic beauty that lies beneath their terrifying forms. It's as though they, too, are prisoners of fate, creatures bound to a purpose they can never escape. Their voices, some say, are like the wind, filled with sorrow and rage, carrying with them the weight of 1,000 curses. Others describe them as shrill and unrelenting, voices that echo in the minds of those who hear them, long after the sound has faded. Their eyes, cold and unblinking, seem to see into the soul, to weigh the worth of those who fall beneath their gaze. For the ancient Romans, these descriptions weren't just part of a story, they were a vivid warning, a reminder that the Harpies were always near, watching, waiting. Though each portrayal of the Harpies is unique, they all serve as a bridge between the mortal and the divine, a relentless reminder that fate spares no one. They stand as both punishment and prophecy, leaving those who encounter them forever changed. And for the readers of these Roman texts, the Harpies remain a haunting symbol, one that lingers in the mind, filling the heart with an unshakable, almost reverent fear. In their twisted beauty and fierce purpose, they remind us of the mysteries and might that lie beyond human reach, forces that shape our lives in ways we may never understand. In the old tales, the stories of humans meeting the Harpies are woven with fear, fate, and a sense of punishment so intense it can't be escaped. These human encounters with the Harpies are more than simple warnings or mere stories of monstrous creatures. They are unforgettable events that reveal something terrifying about fate, its power to sweep in unexpectedly, like a storm, and change everything. The Harpies bring judgment with them, but their judgment is not fair or gentle, it is raw, primal, and unyielding, as if the earth itself has risen to demand justice. In these tales, a mortal crossing paths with a Harpy faces not just an angry creature but an unstoppable force. One story describes how they swoop down on an unprepared soul, with talons ready to tear and shrieks that chill the heart. Their presence fills the air with a sickening dread. Their wings, enormous and fierce, blot out the light, and the sound of their shrieks, high, piercing, and inescapable, leaves those who hear it shivering and gasping for breath. These Harpies aren't just strange, dark visions, they are the anger of something far greater, something ancient and wild that humans cannot control. The Harpies carry out their tasks as punishers of the unrighteous, acting as if they were sent by the gods themselves. Their vengeance is relentless. For someone who has wronged the natural order or betrayed the gods, there is no plea that can stop them. To be on the receiving end of a Harpy's wrath is to know fear as a physical force, to feel it in every breath, in the racing heartbeat, and the chill that runs down the spine. For the ancient Romans, the Harpies weren't just figures of myth, they were messengers of divine judgment, creatures that reminded people of the consequences of dishonoring the sacred bonds between humanity and the world around them. There is a strange, twisted beauty in the Harpies, a duality that makes them both alluring and terrifying. In some myths, they are described with hauntingly beautiful faces, almost human yet unsettling, as if the beauty in them only serves to heighten the horror. Their faces are like dark, hollow masks, betraying no hint of mercy or understanding. This beauty, far from comforting, is a cruel reminder that they aren't mere beasts, they are something greater, something that surpasses human comprehension. They are an embodiment of nature's most relentless aspects, beautiful to behold from afar, but fierce and unforgiving when crossed. To the Romans, the Harpies were the very symbols of chaos and punishment. They were beings who belonged neither to heaven nor to earth, and they did not have to abide by any human sense of order or justice. When a Harpy struck, it was as if the chaos of nature itself had descended upon the human world, retribution for anyone who dared believe they were beyond its reach. A single glimpse of a Harpy was enough to remind a person of the vast power of the natural world, and that no amount of human strength could stand against its will. Yet, the Harpies weren't entirely malicious, nor were they truly evil. They were simply creatures of purpose, existing as both protectors and punishers. In some stories, their vengeance was not without reason. Those they punished were not innocent, they were mortals who had crossed the line, who had violated the unspoken rules of harmony that held the world together. If the Harpies were fearsome, it was only because they were bound to a duty that cared nothing for human emotions. They didn't hate those they punished, they simply fulfilled their role, a role as old as time. The Harpies show the fragile boundary between beauty and horror, between the known and the wild unknown. In their form and nature, they represent this duality perfectly. They are beautiful yet monstrous, silent yet shrieking, soft yet fierce. They are as much a part of the world as the oceans or the mountains, forces that people may admire from afar but cannot control. This duality reminds us of the unpredictability of fate, how it can bring moments of peace or waves of terror, without warning, without mercy. For those who dared to wrong the gods or violate the sacred laws, the sight of a Harpy must have been a vision of despair. Once their wings filled the skies and their voices echoed with that awful shriek, there was no escaping the truth. They were creatures who came from the depths, bringing with them a reminder that nature, fate, and the gods see all, that nothing remains hidden. They were, in a way, guardians of the natural balance, bringing with them a sense of justice that, though terrifying, was somehow fair. And so, these stories of the Harpies and human encounters with them live on, woven into the fabric of ancient memory. The Harpies represent something primal, something humanity can sense but never fully grasp. They remind us of a world that is as mysterious as it is beautiful, a world that cannot be contained or controlled. In every story, they are a haunting reminder that we, too, are part of this world, tied to it, and forever bound by the rules it follows, whether we understand them or not. In the ancient Roman world, fate was something real, powerful, and inescapable, a force that guided every life and shaped every action, unseen but ever present. And if there was any creature that could embody the weight of this force, it was the Harpies. They were the messengers of fate, the haunting figures that served as reminders of destiny's cold and unyielding hand. When the Harpies appeared, it was as if fate itself had taken form, demanding recognition and respect. The Romans believed that fate was not something that could be challenged or changed. It moved silently, its decisions unbreakable, written long before any mortal had taken their first breath. The Harpies became symbols of this fate, wild, uncontrollable, and fiercely devoted to fulfilling their purpose. When a harpy entered a story, its presence was heavy with inevitability, a reminder that there were forces far beyond human understanding. With wings spread wide and eyes that saw through to the soul, they struck terror not just for their power, but for what they represented, the unavoidable truth that life's path is often beyond our control. To encounter a harpy was to face destiny in its most terrifying form. These creatures did not speak words of encouragement or offer paths to redemption. Instead, they appeared as silent reminders that some things were meant to be and could not be undone. For the ancients, the Harpies were not just messengers, they were fate's enforcers, the beings that would sweep down and make sure that what was meant to happen would happen, no matter how much anyone might wish otherwise. Even their very form reflected the unpredictable and relentless nature of fate. They were creatures of the sky, soaring high above, watching everything below. Their wings spread wide, carrying them wherever destiny called, and their movements were swift and silent, leaving no chance for escape. When a harpy appeared, there was no bargaining, no pleading that could change its course. It was a reminder that fate does not negotiate. It does not pause. It simply is, in all its terrifying finality. The Harpies didn't simply serve fate, they were fate, given form and voice. They carried with them a sense of inevitability, of events that could not be stopped or altered. To the Romans, this made them beings to be feared but also, strangely, respected. They were not demons or monsters, they were a part of the cosmic order, a necessary force that ensured the world remained as it was meant to be. In their talons and shrieks, there was a strange kind of justice, a sense that everything had a place and purpose, even if that purpose was beyond mortal understanding. In some stories, the Harpies came to those who had tried to escape their fate. They would swoop down, relentless and unyielding, reminding these mortals that no matter how far they ran, destiny would find them. The Romans saw in these tales a solemn warning that fate is not a force to be cheated. It is patient, but it is certain, and when the time comes, it will arrive without hesitation. The Harpies were there to make sure that nothing and no one could defy what was meant to be. They were fate's guardians, and their role was to ensure that everything happened as it was intended. Their presence in Roman thought brings chills because it speaks to something we all understand, something we can all feel even if we can't explain it. They embody the part of life that is wild and untamed, that slips through our fingers no matter how tightly we try to hold on. And in every story of the Harpies swooping down, of their shrill cries filling the air, there is that feeling, the realization that we, too, are bound to something greater than ourselves. There is a haunting beauty in their connection to fate, and the way they seem to float between worlds, belonging neither fully to the gods nor to humans. They are there to serve a purpose beyond comprehension, a purpose that needs no justification or reason. When the Harpies appear, they don't need to explain why they have come. Their presence alone is enough to make it clear that destiny has arrived, and that nothing can turn it back. Even as they terrify, the Harpies remind us of life's strange, inescapable order. They show that there is a meaning and direction to everything, even the things we fear, even the moments that bring us sorrow. To the Romans, the Harpies were a symbol of this bittersweet truth, that fate does not pick and choose, does not sway or falter. It moves through our lives like an unseen wind, and all we can do is accept that it will carry us where we are meant to go. In ancient Rome, when an artist shaped the image of a harpy, they captured more than a mere creature, they breathed life into terror, awe, and fate itself. Every carved line, every stroke of paint, every mosaic tile seemed to echo the myth's haunting power, as if each piece was woven with the very essence of those mythical beings. The Harpies' form on pottery and in mosaics was never just an image, but a message, a reminder that fate, in all its wild beauty and harsh justice, was watching, waiting, and would always find its way. Sculptures of Harpies reveal a blend of human beauty with a brutal, otherworldly edge. They were often crafted with delicate, alluring faces, yet their wings and talons told another story. In marble and bronze, these creatures stared out with empty, stone-cold eyes that seemed to see right through human frailty. A sculpted harpy in flight, wings stretched wide and talons sharp, feels as though it could swoop down at any moment, reminding those who gazed upon it that this creature was both beautiful and terrifying. Artists captured this duality with chilling skill, as if the harpy were caught between two worlds, the alluring beauty of a goddess and the ruthless force of nature. In every curve and angle, there was the reminder that destiny's path is both magnetic and merciless, pulling us in, whether we're ready or not. In pottery, the harpies were often depicted with dramatic flair, their forms painted with broad strokes and vivid colors that conveyed their swift movement and fierce purpose. On the curved surfaces of ancient vessels, their wings seemed to stretch endlessly, wrapping around the pottery like a warning that fate surrounds us all. Some of these pots depict scenes of humans encountering these winged creatures, faces frozen in horror or desperation, as if they knew escape was impossible. Artists used contrast, light against dark, to give the harpy's presence a sense of looming inevitability. The pottery holds these images of myth, yet it feels as if it's holding stories of real lives, real fears, and the realness of destiny's touch. These harpies, though painted, appear to pulse with life, waiting for the right moment to spring forth and remind us of the forces we can neither see nor control. Mosaics told the harpy story in pieces, tiny tiles painstakingly arranged to create a whole that was as mesmerizing as it was terrifying. In mosaic form, the harpies take on a breathtaking sharpness, every feather, every feature carefully defined in stone and glass. Their wings stretch across floors and walls, creating the sense that the harpy is present in the very space around us. Many of these mosaics showed them in mid-flight, eyes piercing and focused, as if searching out those who have dared to challenge the natural order. The mosaics were not simply works of art, they were messages, warnings etched into the homes of the Romans, urging humility in the face of forces beyond comprehension. The harpy, made of cold stone yet full of life, served as a symbol of fate's unforgiving path, pieced together from fragments just as life itself can feel fragmented, yet somehow complete. These artworks captured the harpy in every form imaginable, from hauntingly beautiful to utterly monstrous. One could almost feel the air move, as if the creature were swooping down, its feathers brushing against reality. Each piece, whether clay, stone, or paint, brought the harpy into the real world, making the viewer feel as if they, too, could be swept into the story. In these artistic representations, we see the Romans grappling with their own beliefs, with their understanding of life's unpredictability and the fierce justice they believed the gods upheld. For the Romans, art was not just decoration, it was a window into the mysteries of the world, a way to confront and respect the things they could not control. By carving and painting these creatures, they honored the myths and respected the reminders that fate would not be ignored. And in each piece, the harpies watched back, as if reminding each onlooker that fate's hand was always present, that nothing escapes the eye of destiny. Through these creations, the harpies remain as powerful today as they were thousands of years ago, etched forever into art that pulses with life and captures the haunting beauty of forces unseen. In the heart of ancient Rome, the theater was not just a place for entertainment, it was a stage for the soul, a mirror reflecting the fears, hopes, and beliefs of its people. When the harpies graced the stage, they transformed the ordinary into the extraordinary, wrapping audiences in a spell of fascination and dread. As the curtains parted and the lights flickered, the sight of these winged creatures soaring across the stage brought gasps and shudders, filling the air with a sense of impending doom. The harpies were not mere characters in a play, they were the embodiment of fate, chaos, and the unknown, challenging every spectator to confront their own understanding of destiny. Actors dressed as harpies, their costumes designed to capture both beauty and terror, would sweep across the stage with their wings outstretched, their movements a dance of unpredictability. The audience would watch, hearts pounding, as the harpies flitted between scenes, their presence a reminder of the forces beyond human control. The way they moved, graceful yet menacing, spoke volumes about the unpredictability of fate. With every flutter of their wings, the tension in the theater grew, pulling the audience closer to the edge of their seats, as if they could feel the chill of the harpies' breath upon their necks. In these performances, the harpies often played a crucial role in advancing the narrative, embodying the themes of punishment and retribution that ran through Roman thought. They would appear at pivotal moments, their cries echoing the fears of the characters on stage, and reminding the audience of the inescapable fate that awaited those who defied the gods or the natural order. Their presence was a powerful reminder that actions have consequences. They were there to ensure that justice was served, even if it came at a price. The audience would watch as the characters trembled before these magnificent beings, their faces etched with fear and resignation, knowing that their fate was sealed. The impact of the Harpies on audiences was profound. Each performance brought forth gasps, cries, and even tears as the stories unfolded. Spectators were not merely passive observers, they became participants in the emotional tapestry woven by the playwrights. As the Harpies swooped down, their sharp talons a symbol of divine retribution, viewers were drawn into the drama, feeling the weight of their own choices reflected on stage. The Harpies forced them to confront the idea that life is not solely about the choices we make, but also about the unpredictable forces that can change everything in an instant. The dialogue in these plays often echoed the beliefs of the time, reflecting a world where the gods actively shaped the lives of mortals. The Harpies were not just characters, they were the voice of destiny, speaking in whispers of fate. Their portrayal sparked conversations among audiences, encouraging them to question their own beliefs about fate and free will. What does it mean to be free if fate can swoop down and change everything? As the curtain fell, the audience left the theater with these questions heavy in their hearts, carrying the weight of the Harpies' message with them into their everyday lives. The theater also served as a space for catharsis, a release of pent-up emotions. The presence of the Harpies, with their fierce beauty and unyielding nature, allowed audiences to confront their fears. The very sight of them ignited a mix of emotions, fear, awe, and even sorrow. As the Harpies took to the skies on stage, they represented all that was uncontrollable in life. In those moments, audiences felt a shared sense of vulnerability, reminding them that they were all part of a larger tapestry of fate. The stories that included Harpies were often rooted in the myths and legends of the time. Their portrayal in theater drew upon these rich narratives, allowing audiences to connect with the deeper meanings behind the stories. With each performance, the Harpies became more than just characters, they evolved into symbols of the ancient Roman struggle with the idea of fate. This struggle resonated deeply with audiences, reminding them that while they may have control over their actions, they were never truly in control of their destinies. As the actors took their final bows, the legacy of the Harpies lingered in the air, weaving through the hearts and minds of those who had witnessed their stories. Their portrayal in Roman theater left an indelible mark on the audience's understanding of mythology, revealing the intricate dance between fate and free will. The Harpies, with their wings that spanned both beauty and terror, became a reminder that life is a tapestry woven with threads of unpredictability, and that within that chaos lies both fear and profound beauty. In this sacred space, the Harpies soared not just as figures of mythology but as living, breathing reflections of humanity's deepest fears and hopes. Their presence was a powerful reminder of the fragile balance between choice and destiny, a testament to the enduring nature of stories that continue to speak to our hearts across the ages. Every performance ignited a spark of introspection, encouraging audiences to ponder the mysteries of fate that govern our lives. And as the lights dimmed and the applause faded, the Harpies remained in the shadows, watchful and eternal, reminding all who had seen them that fate, like the wind, is ever-present and ever-changing. In the bustling streets of ancient Rome, coins clinked together, a symphony of commerce echoing through the markets and trade routes. Each coin carried more than just weight, it bore stories, ideals, and symbols that connected the people to their beliefs. Among these coins, the image of the Harpy stood out, capturing the imagination of those who held them. These coins were not merely currency, they were tokens of the profound relationship between myth and daily life, a bridge between the seen and the unseen, the earthly and the divine. Coins featuring Harpies often showcased these mythical creatures in exquisite detail, their wings spread wide, ready to take flight. The artistry was not just for decoration, it was a deliberate choice, a way to convey messages to the people. The Harpies were often depicted in moments of action, their fierce expressions evoking feelings of both fear and admiration. To the Romans, the presence of a Harpy on a coin signified more than just the creature's image, it represented the unpredictable forces of nature and fate that governed their lives. Every time someone exchanged a coin, they were reminded of the Harpy's warning, fate is always watching, and the balance between power and vulnerability is delicate. The symbolism of the Harpy extended beyond the visual. To many, these creatures represented punishment and the fierce justice of the gods. In times of hardship or loss, people looked to these coins for comfort, interpreting the harpy as a guardian of sorts, reminding them to stay humble and respectful of the natural order. The image served as a constant reminder that one's actions have consequences, reinforcing the social norms and values deeply rooted in Roman culture. Each transaction was a dance with fate, and with every coin exchanged, the harpy seemed to whisper a lesson: be mindful of your choices. The economic implications of using mythological imagery, like the harpy, were profound. These coins acted as a form of storytelling, communicating shared beliefs and values to people from all walks of life. When someone held a coin with a harpy, it created an immediate connection to the mythos of the time. This connection fostered a sense of community, reminding individuals that they were part of something larger than themselves. They were not just exchanging money, they were participating in a cultural dialogue that transcended generations. The harpy became a common thread, weaving together the fabric of Roman society. Additionally, the presence of the harpy on coinage often indicated a specific period of political or social significance. For example, during times of war or unrest, coins depicting harpies might serve as symbols of protection, meant to rally the public around shared fears and hopes. The harpy's fierce nature and association with divine retribution resonated deeply in a society that often faced the unpredictable wrath of both nature and the gods. Holding a coin with a harpy might instill a sense of courage or resilience, a talisman of sorts against the chaos of life. It allowed people to carry a piece of their mythology with them, reinforcing their identity and beliefs in their everyday lives. In the delicate balance of trade and economy, the harpy symbolized the intertwining of commerce and belief. Merchants would use coins bearing the harpy to conduct transactions, each exchange echoing the stories of old. As coins passed from hand to hand, they carried with them the weight of expectation and the fears of the individuals who used them. The harpy served as a reminder of the unknown, urging people to tread carefully in their dealings. It was as if the very spirit of the creature flowed through each coin, making every trade a dance with destiny. Moreover, the use of mythological imagery on coins was a form of propaganda, showcasing the power and culture of Rome to both its citizens and its enemies. A coin featuring a harpy could symbolize Rome's strength and dominance, reminding all who saw it that the Roman Empire was not just a political entity but also a cultural force steeped in rich mythology. By displaying such images, Rome communicated its values and beliefs to the wider world, reinforcing the connection between the state and its divine right to rule. Each coin was a statement, a declaration of identity that was unmistakably Roman, intertwined with the rich tapestry of its mythology. As people navigated their daily lives, these coins often became small, tangible pieces of their larger belief system. The harpy, fierce yet graceful, was a reminder of the complexities of fate that swirled around them. With every transaction, they engaged with a history that transcended their immediate realities. It is said that the true value of a coin lies not in its metal but in its stories, and the coins featuring harpies were filled with tales of caution, hope, and the eternal dance between man and fate. The presence of harpies in Roman coinage serves as a testament to the enduring power of mythology in shaping society. Even in the most mundane of exchanges, the spirit of the harpy soared above the marketplace, casting its watchful gaze upon the people below. These coins not only facilitated trade but also served as cultural artifacts, telling the story of a civilization that deeply intertwined its identity with its myths. Every time a coin changed hands, the harpy lived on, reminding everyone that fate, much like currency, is a force that binds us all, unpredictable yet beautiful in its complexity. In the quiet corners of ancient Roman life, whispers of harpy legends fluttered like autumn leaves, carrying tales that blended fear and fascination. These mythical creatures, part bird and part woman, embodied the wild forces of nature, reminding everyone that some things are better left unchallenged. As dusk fell, the stories of harpies would take flight, filling the air with their haunting cries and the scent of adventure mixed with danger. For centuries, these legends became threads in the fabric of Roman folklore, weaving a narrative that resonated deeply with the hearts of the people. The persistence of Harpy legends in Roman folklore can be traced through the stories shared around fires, passed from generation to generation. In villages where the wind howled through the trees, mothers would tell their children about the Harpies, cautioning them to be good or risk encountering these fearsome creatures. The Harpies represented the unpredictable forces of fate, acting as both protectors and punishers. This duality made them fascinating figures in the minds of the Romans, who could see their own struggles reflected in these tales. When the winds picked up and dark clouds gathered, people would glance nervously at the sky, wondering if the Harpies were nearby, ready to swoop down and carry away those who dared to defy the gods. In these stories, Harpies often played roles that highlighted their connection to nature and the divine. They would appear in tales of lost travelers, guiding them through treacherous landscapes, only to turn into a test of character. These encounters were filled with tension, where the travelers had to prove their worth, lest they be taken away by the Harpies' fierce winds. The creatures embodied the essence of the untamed world, and their presence served as a reminder of the delicate balance between humanity and the forces beyond comprehension. As time passed, the Harpy legends began to evolve, adapting to the changing landscape of Roman society. No longer were they merely figures of fear, they transformed into symbols of resilience. In popular tales, the Harpies became allies of the downtrodden, swooping in to defend the innocent and punish the wicked. This shift reflected the growing belief in justice and the idea that good could prevail against the chaos represented by the Harpies. People began to see them as guardians, wielding the power to bring about retribution for those wronged. The stories shifted from a mere warning to a source of inspiration, showing that even the most fearsome creatures could act in defense of those in need. In one popular tale, a humble villager faced injustice at the hands of a corrupt nobleman. The Harpies, witnessing his plight, decided to intervene. With their swift wings, they descended upon the nobleman, unleashing a whirlwind of feathers and fury. The message was clear: the Harpies were no longer just agents of chaos, but champions of the oppressed. The villagers would gather to listen to this tale, their hearts swelling with hope as they imagined the Harpies swooping down from the heavens, ready to right the wrongs of the world. Over time, these legends took on new life, inspiring artists, poets, and playwrights who used the Harpies to explore themes of fate and justice. In theatrical performances, Harpies were depicted with a blend of beauty and menace, their wings shimmering like silver under the stage lights. Audiences would gasp at their fierce presence, feeling the weight of the stories as they unfolded. The Harpies became metaphors for the struggles faced by everyday people, serving as a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is a flicker of hope waiting to soar. The evolution of the Harpy in folklore mirrored the changing attitudes of society. As the Romans grappled with the complexities of their own lives, the stories of the Harpies became a way to process their fears and aspirations. The duality of the Harpies, both terrifying and protective, captured the essence of human experience, resonating with anyone who faced adversity. These legends acted as a mirror, reflecting the hopes, dreams, and fears of those who shared them. In the whispers of old tales, one can still hear the echoes of the Harpies, their wings rustling in the wind as they fly across the landscape of Roman folklore. The legends remind us that, while life may be filled with uncertainty, the stories we share can empower us. They connect us to our past, grounding us in our humanity while reminding us of the incredible forces that shape our destinies. Even today, the remnants of these ancient tales continue to inspire storytellers and artists, reminding us that the Harpy is more than just a creature of myth. She embodies the complexities of existence itself. In every retelling, in every brushstroke and verse, the Harpies live on, capturing the hearts of those who yearn for stories that reflect the beauty and chaos of life. The Harpies soar across the skies of our imagination, carrying with them the hopes and dreams of generations, a testament to the enduring power of folklore that can touch our hearts and stir our souls. In the heart of ancient Rome, where the bustling streets echoed with life and the air was thick with stories, the Harpy emerged as a powerful symbol, intertwining itself with the very essence of Roman society. The Harpy was not merely a creature of myth, she represented a multitude of concepts that resonated deeply with the people. As tales of her beauty and ferocity spread, the Harpy transformed into a cultural icon, embodying the struggles, fears, and aspirations of a civilization seeking meaning in a chaotic world. The Harpy stood as a dual figure, simultaneously beautiful and terrifying. Her wings, both graceful and formidable, captured the imagination of those who encountered her in tales and art. In this way, she became a symbol of the untamed forces of nature, wild, unpredictable, and awe-inspiring. People gazed up at the skies, wondering when the Harpies might descend, reminding them that nature was not something to be controlled but respected. This reverence for the natural world permeated Roman culture, teaching that the balance between humanity and nature was fragile. The Harpy's role as a guardian of the wild highlighted the importance of harmony between the two, a lesson etched into the hearts of the people. Furthermore, the Harpy embodied the concept of fate, a powerful force in Roman belief. Her presence in stories often signified the inevitable twists and turns that life could take. She was the reminder that destiny could be both a blessing and a curse. In Roman society, where fortunes could change in an instant, the Harpy symbolized the unpredictability of fate. This connection resonated deeply as people navigated the complexities of their lives, hoping for guidance while acknowledging that they could not escape the whims of destiny. The Harpy's fierce nature was a cautionary tale. Her presence warned of the consequences of one's actions, urging people to tread carefully on the path of life. As the Harpy story evolved, she also took on the role of a punisher, a symbol of justice and retribution. In popular tales, she was often depicted swooping down upon those who wronged the innocent, delivering swift punishment to those who thought themselves above the consequences of their actions. This transformation aligned the Harpy with the idea of divine justice, reflecting a society that sought to balance morality with order. People began to view the Harpy as a protector of the oppressed, a fierce avenger ensuring that wrongs were righted. This dual role of punisher and protector deepened her significance in Roman culture, creating a complex character that resonated with the struggles of everyday life. In comparison to other mythological creatures, the Harpy held a unique place in the pantheon of Roman icons. Unlike the majestic gods and goddesses, who often sat on their thrones in the heavens, the Harpy embodied the raw forces of nature, unbound and untamed. She was both a part of the natural world and a reflection of human emotions, fear, hope, and the quest for justice. The Harpy was not simply an object of worship, but a complex figure that walked among mortals, shaping their understanding of existence. Creatures like the phoenix or the griffin were also revered in Roman mythology but represented different ideas. The phoenix, for instance, was a symbol of rebirth and renewal, rising from the ashes of its own destruction, embodying the idea that life continues despite the challenges one faces. The griffin, a blend of lion and eagle, represented strength and courage, often depicted as a guardian of treasures and the divine. In contrast, the Harpy was a reminder of the thin line between beauty and horror, between hope and despair. Her story was not about rising above, but about navigating the stormy seas of life, understanding that danger and beauty could coexist. As the Harpy's legend spread, her image began to appear in various forms of Roman art and literature. She adorned pottery, mosaics, and frescoes, captivating viewers with her enchanting yet fearsome presence. Each representation carried the weight of her symbolism, telling stories of punishment, justice, and the eternal dance between humanity and nature. The people of Rome found solace in these images, believing that the Harpy watched over them, guiding them through the chaos of existence. This connection to art and storytelling allowed the Harpy to permeate daily life. She became a cultural touchstone, a symbol that could be invoked in times of need. When faced with adversity, Romans would speak of the Harpy's fierce protection, finding strength in her legend. The stories of her power gave them hope, a reminder that they were not alone in their struggles. This relationship transformed the Harpy into a collective symbol of resilience, a figure that resonated with anyone facing challenges. Even today, the Harpy endures as a cultural icon, a testament to the enduring nature of mythology. Her image continues to inspire artists and storytellers, reminding us of the complexities of existence. The Harpy's story carries a depth that transcends time, echoing the fears and aspirations of humanity. She remains a symbol of the beautiful and the monstrous, a reminder that life is a tapestry woven with threads of joy, sorrow, and the unpredictable forces of fate. As the sun sets over the ancient ruins, one can almost hear the rustle of wings in the distance. The Harpy, with her fierce beauty and fierce heart, continues to soar through the collective memory of a civilization long past, reminding us of the power of myth to shape our understanding of the world. In every retelling, she inspires us to confront our fears, embrace the chaos, and find strength in the stories that connect us all. The winds howled like restless spirits as stories of harpies swept across the lands of ancient Greece. These winged creatures, with their haunting cries and fierce demeanor, captured the imagination of the people. In Greek mythology, harpies were known as the snatchers, feared for their ability to whisk away both food and souls, leaving behind nothing but despair. They were often portrayed as beautiful maidens with the wings of birds, a duality that stirred both awe and dread. The Greeks wove tales of harpies into their narratives, and these creatures became symbols of chaos and punishment, embodying the darker aspects of human existence. Unlike their Roman counterparts, the Greek harpies were often depicted as malevolent beings who tormented heroes and the innocent alike. They were known to serve the gods, particularly in tales involving divine retribution. One of the most famous stories is that of Phineas, a blind prophet punished by the harpies for his cruel treatment of others. As he dined, the harpies would swoop down, stealing his food and leaving him to starve. This vivid imagery of starvation and suffering resonated deeply with the Greeks, who understood the cruelty of fate. The harpies became not just a myth, but a reminder of the harsh realities of life, reflecting the human struggle against forces beyond one's control. In Roman mythology, the portrayal of harpies shifted significantly. While they retained their winged forms and fearsome nature, they were often presented with a sense of beauty intertwined with their ferocity. Roman writers adapted the Harpy legend, blending it with their own cultural values and beliefs. The Harpies were depicted as protectors rather than mere tormentors. They transformed into symbols of vengeance for the oppressed, delivering justice to those who wronged the innocent. This evolution reflected the Roman emphasis on law and order, illustrating the importance of justice in their society. This shift in perception can be traced back to the influence of Greek mythology on Roman culture. The Romans admired Greek art, literature, and philosophy, drawing inspiration from their myths. As they adapted the stories of the Harpies, they infused them with their values, creating a rich tapestry of meaning. In Roman adaptations, the Harpies took on new significance, evolving from the cruel snatchers of Greek lore to complex figures embodying both punishment and protection. This transformation resonated with the Roman people, who sought to find meaning in their own struggles. The contrast between the Greek and Roman versions of the Harpy is striking. In Greece, they were often seen as agents of chaos, unpredictable forces that could disrupt the order of life. They represented the darker side of fate, a constant reminder of the potential for suffering and loss. In Roman culture, however, the Harpy became a symbol of hope and justice, a fierce avenger who defended the weak. This duality reflects a broader theme in mythology: how stories can shift in meaning depending on the culture that tells them. As tales of the Harpies traveled from Greece to Rome, their characteristics began to change. The Greeks depicted them with a certain level of malevolence, while the Romans softened their edges, transforming them into figures of resilience and strength. The Roman Harpies, while still fearsome, were often seen as protectors of the natural world, guardians of balance. They served as a reminder that even the most chaotic forces could have a role in maintaining order, echoing the Roman belief in the importance of harmony between nature and humanity. The evolution of the Harpy in these two cultures highlights the complexities of human emotions and experiences. In Greece, the Harpies embodied despair, hunger, and chaos, mirroring the struggles of individuals facing overwhelming odds. The very act of being snatched away by these creatures represented the fragility of life, a powerful theme that resonated with those who lived in a world filled with uncertainty. The Greeks understood the Harpies as a metaphor for the unpredictable nature of fate, reminding them that suffering could strike at any moment. In contrast, the Roman Harpy became a symbol of resilience and justice, teaching that strength could emerge from adversity. This shift in portrayal offered hope to the Roman people, encouraging them to confront their challenges with courage. The Harpy's duality, beautiful yet terrifying, served as a reminder that life is filled with contradictions. Just as the winds could bring destruction, they could also carry whispers of hope. This complexity added depth to the Harpy's character, allowing her to resonate with people on multiple levels. As the Harpies flitted through the stories of both cultures, they became more than just mythical beings. They represented the fears and hopes of the people who told their tales. In Greek mythology, they embodied the darkness that could consume a person, while in Roman lore, they symbolized the strength that arises from overcoming such darkness. This interplay of fear and hope created a rich narrative that touched the hearts of those who listened. The influence of Greek mythology on Roman adaptations of the Harpy is evident in countless works of art and literature. The two cultures, while distinct, shared a common understanding of the human experience, and the Harpy emerged as a powerful symbol of that shared journey. As tales of the Harpy spread, they echoed through time, reminding people of the struggles they faced and the strength they could find within themselves. In the end, the story of the Harpy transcends cultural boundaries, connecting the ancient Greeks and Romans through their shared mythology. As these creatures soared through the skies, they carried with them the hopes, fears, and dreams of a civilization that sought to make sense of a world filled with chaos. The Harpy, with her haunting cries and fierce beauty, became a symbol of the human condition, a reminder that within every struggle lies the potential for growth and transformation. In the dim glow of ancient tales, winged creatures have long haunted the hearts and minds of people. These mythical beings often represent the powerful emotions of love, fear, and the chaotic forces of nature. Among them, Harpies fly through the skies, their cries echoing tales of torment and justice. Yet, they are not alone in their spectral flight. Similar creatures inhabit other mythologies, each with their own haunting stories and layered meanings. The sirens of the sea and the furies of the underworld stand as kindred spirits to the Harpies, weaving a rich tapestry of narrative threads that connect them through time and space. The sirens, known for their mesmerizing songs, are perhaps the most famous of these winged counterparts. Their enchanting voices lured sailors to their doom, pulling them toward treacherous rocks with promises of beauty and love. Like Harpies, the sirens embody duality, both alluring and dangerous. Their songs represent the tantalizing allure of temptation, capable of leading the strongest of men to their destruction. Just as the Harpies snatch food and souls, the sirens capture hearts and hopes, transforming dreams into nightmares. This echo of predation resonates deeply in human experience, reflecting the pain of desire and the price of surrendering to it. Both Harpies and sirens operate on the edges of humanity, drawing from the wells of our deepest fears. The sailors who succumb to the sirens' melodies lose not only their ships, but also their very lives. Their stories speak to the consequences of ignoring caution and embracing reckless desire. In this way, the sirens become symbols of the dangers that lurk beneath the surface of beauty, reminding listeners that not all that glitters is gold. Similarly, the Harpies warn of the unpredictability of fate, snatching away comfort and certainties with their sudden, cruel interventions. Both creatures evoke a deep sense of vulnerability, tapping into the fear that love, beauty, and desire can lead to suffering. Moving from the winds to the shadows, the Furies emerge as fierce avengers of wrongdoing, striking terror into the hearts of those who commit acts of injustice. These female deities are often depicted as haggard women with snakes entwined in their hair, their eyes ablaze with rage. Like Harpies, the Furies serve as agents of divine punishment, punishing wrongdoers who escape the mortal law. They bring a chilling justice to the chaos of human actions, reminding all of the consequences of betrayal and deceit. The Furies embody the idea that one cannot escape the consequences of their actions, resonating with the moral lessons echoed throughout ancient tales. The Furies and Harpies share a common theme of vengeance, both rooted in a desire to uphold cosmic balance. The Furies, much like the Harpies, emerge from darkness to right the wrongs of humanity. In their presence, one cannot help but feel the weight of accountability, a powerful reminder that every action has consequences. Just as the Harpies swoop in to snatch away the comforts of the unjust, the Furies strike fear into the hearts of those who believe they can escape their misdeeds. The emotional response elicited by these figures speaks to a universal truth, that chaos often reigns when justice is ignored. Despite their differences, these creatures intertwine in a web of shared themes and narratives. All three, Harpies, Sirens, and Furies, serve as reflections of human fears and desires. They remind us of the fragility of life and the ever-present danger of temptation. These beings embody the complexities of existence, urging humanity to tread carefully in the realms of love, justice, and fate. Each creature serves a unique role within their respective myths, yet they converge on common themes of chaos, punishment, and the consequences of unchecked desires. The emotional weight of these stories transcends cultures and eras, resonating deeply within the human soul. They remind us of the eternal struggle between good and evil, desire and consequence, love and loss. The stories of Harpies, Sirens, and Furies echo through time, urging us to recognize the beauty and danger that exist side by side. They tap into the fears that dwell within all of us, reminding us that the allure of the unknown can lead to both wonder and peril. As these creatures traverse the skies, seas, and shadows of ancient lore, they carry with them the essence of human experience. The Harpies, with their haunting cries, the Sirens, with their enchanting melodies, and the Furies, with their relentless pursuit of justice, remind us of our own struggles and triumphs. They encourage us to confront our fears, embrace our desires, and understand the delicate balance between chaos and order. In this vast tapestry of mythological creatures, the Harpies stand alongside their kin, reflecting the multifaceted nature of existence. Their stories intertwine with those of the Sirens and Furies, creating a rich landscape filled with lessons about love, loss, and the consequences of our actions. As we listen to their tales, we are invited to explore the depths of our own emotions, to acknowledge the beauty and terror that coexist in our lives. Through their narratives, we find connection and understanding, reminding us that in the face of chaos, there is always the potential for growth and redemption. When one thinks of Harpies, images of fierce women with wings often emerge, conjuring a blend of beauty and terror. These mythical beings, half woman and half bird, fly through the skies with a haunting presence that echoes ancient fears and cultural narratives. Harpies challenge traditional gender roles, representing complex ideas about femininity, power, and the consequences of defiance. In a world where women were often cast into subordinate roles, Harpies soar as potent symbols, reflecting both societal anxieties and the strength of the female spirit. In ancient myths, Harpies are often portrayed as vengeful spirits, snatching away the food of the unjust or punishing those who have wronged others. This role paints them as enforcers of cosmic justice, wielding power that subverts the expectations placed upon women. Instead of being mere caretakers or passive figures, the Harpies take action, embodying rage and revenge. They serve as a reminder that women can be both nurturers and fierce protectors, capable of great wrath when provoked. This duality challenges the notion of feminine fragility, suggesting that women are complex beings capable of both tenderness and ferocity. The portrayal of Harpies reflects broader themes in mythology regarding women's roles. In many ancient cultures, women were often associated with the domestic sphere, defined by their relationships with men and their roles as mothers and wives. However, Harpies defy these norms. Their violent and chaotic nature stands in stark contrast to the submissive female archetype. In their fierce battles and swift punishments, Harpies symbolize a break from traditional gender expectations, demonstrating that women can wield power even in a patriarchal society. Moreover, the Harpies' connection to nature reinforces their strength. Birds are often seen as symbols of freedom, representing the ability to transcend earthly bounds. In this sense, Harpies embody a wildness that challenges the constraints placed on women. They remind us that femininity is not synonymous with weakness or compliance. The power of flight represents liberation, showcasing a spirit that refuses to be confined. The Harpies' winged forms signify their connection to the divine and the chaotic forces of nature, allowing them to transcend human limitations. Yet, with this strength comes a darker implication. The Harpies are often depicted as monstrous and terrifying figures, reinforcing societal fears about women who reject traditional roles. Their ferocity can be seen as a reflection of the consequences that await women who assert their power or defy societal expectations. This representation fosters a tension between admiration and fear, suggesting that while female strength is recognized, it is also demonized. This duality highlights the cultural implications of how women are perceived: strong yet dangerous, powerful yet feared. The fear of the Harpy is rooted in the desire to control feminine power. In myth, women who stray from their prescribed roles often face dire consequences, serving as cautionary tales. The Harpies remind us that society can be unforgiving to those who dare to challenge the status quo. Their stories evoke a sense of unease, tapping into the fear of retribution against those who wield power. This reflects the cultural belief that women who claim their autonomy can disrupt the social order, invoking fear in those who wish to maintain traditional power structures. In a broader context, the portrayal of Harpies connects to the cultural implications surrounding femininity and power. Myths often serve as mirrors of societal values, reflecting fears, hopes, and beliefs. The Harpies embody the tension between admiration for female strength and the desire to control it. Their narratives raise questions about how society defines and limits femininity, challenging us to reconsider the roles assigned to women throughout history. The portrayal of women in mythology often reveals much about the culture that produces it. While Harpies exist as fearsome creatures, they also represent the complexity of female identity: nurturers and destroyers, allies and foes. This duality invites deeper exploration of what it means to be a woman in a world that often seeks to define and confine femininity. The Harpies serve as a reminder that strength can manifest in many forms, challenging us to embrace the full spectrum of feminine power without fear. In contemporary society, the stories of Harpies resonate with ongoing conversations about gender roles and representation. The legacy of these mythical figures can inspire modern discussions about the importance of recognizing women's strength and autonomy. As voices of defiance against patriarchal norms, the Harpies stand as symbols of resilience and power, urging us to acknowledge the multifaceted nature of femininity. They encourage us to challenge the narratives that seek to diminish women's voices and agency. The stories of Harpies evoke a mixture of fear, admiration, and empathy. As they soar through the skies, they carry with them the weight of centuries of cultural narratives about gender, power, and autonomy. In their fierce, unyielding forms, we find reflections of the struggles faced by women throughout history, struggles that continue to resonate today. The Harpies remind us of the importance of embracing complexity in female identity, challenging us to honor the strength that lies within every woman. Through their presence in mythology, Harpies illuminate the struggles of women navigating a world that often seeks to suppress their voices. They remind us that strength comes in many forms, and that the fight for autonomy is both beautiful and terrifying. In their duality lies a truth that transcends time, urging us to recognize and celebrate the fierce spirit of femininity that refuses to be silenced. The Harpies take flight, a testament to the power and complexity of women, inviting us to reflect on our own narratives and the legacies we leave behind. The wind whistles through the trees, carrying with it whispers of ancient tales and untamed spirits. Among these spirits, the Harpies soar high above, their wings beating fiercely against the elements. These mythical creatures, often depicted as half woman, half bird, embody a powerful connection to nature that speaks volumes about the world around us. As they glide through stormy skies, they remind us of the raw beauty and uncontrollable forces that nature holds, reflecting both its magnificence and its ferocity. Harpies are more than just winged beings, they are symbols of the natural world's wildness and unpredictability. In myth, they are often associated with storms and chaos, sweeping in like dark clouds to enforce cosmic balance. Their very presence serves as a reminder that nature is not a tame entity to be controlled, but a force that commands respect and reverence. This connection to the elements evokes a sense of awe, as their wings slice through the air, stirring winds and bringing forth change. Through their interactions with humans, Harpies highlight the consequences of disrupting the natural order. In various myths, they act as enforcers of justice, punishing those who disrespect the environment or harm others. When people transgress the boundaries set by nature, the Harpies swoop in, embodying nature's wrath. This portrayal reinforces the idea that there is a delicate balance in the world, one that must be honored. To ignore this balance invites chaos, reminding us that every action has repercussions. The Harpies' association with storms also reveals a deeper relationship with nature. Storms can be terrifying, filled with thunder, lightning, and howling winds, yet they are also a source of renewal. Rain nourishes the earth, allowing life to thrive. In this sense, the Harpies symbolize the duality of nature, embodying both destruction and rebirth. Their fierce appearances may inspire fear, but they also represent the potential for growth and transformation. Just as storms clear the air and bring forth new life, the Harpies signify that chaos can lead to new beginnings. In many myths, the Harpies are depicted as guardians of the environment, ensuring that balance is maintained. Their fierce protection of the natural order reflects humanity's need to coexist with the world around us. When the Harpies punish those who pollute rivers or harm forests, they stand as champions of nature. They remind us of the responsibility we hold to protect the earth and all its inhabitants. Their actions echo a timeless truth: our well-being is intertwined with the health of the environment. The connection between Harpies and nature is also evident in their physical forms. With the body of a woman and the wings of a bird, they bridge two worlds, the human and the natural. This duality underscores the importance of harmony between humanity and nature. It invites reflection on how often people forget their roots, losing touch with the wildness that exists outside their doors. The Harpies serve as a call to reconnect with the earth, to remember that we are part of a larger ecosystem. In the lush forests and vast skies, the Harpies dance through the air, embodying freedom and the untamed spirit of the natural world. They symbolize the wild beauty that exists in nature, reminding us that life is not always orderly. Nature, like the Harpies themselves, can be chaotic and unpredictable, yet it is this very unpredictability that makes it beautiful. The rustle of leaves in the wind, the roar of thunder, and the call of birds all resonate with the essence of the Harpies, creating a symphony of life that connects all beings. As guardians of the earth, the Harpies challenge humanity to honor their environment. They serve as a reminder of the consequences that can arise when people take more than they give. In their fierce pursuit of justice, they emphasize the importance of stewardship. Every time the Harpies sweep down from the clouds, they carry with them the weight of nature's demands. Their presence beckons us to listen closely to the earth's cries, urging us to protect its delicate balance. Harpies also represent the beauty found in the chaotic aspects of nature. While they are often seen as frightening, they are also awe-inspiring. The sight of a Harpy soaring through a stormy sky can evoke feelings of wonder and reverence. This complex portrayal invites us to embrace the unpredictability of life and to find beauty in moments of turmoil. Just as storms pass, revealing the brilliance of the sun, so too do the Harpies encourage us to seek light amid darkness. In today's world, the relationship between Harpies and nature resonates strongly as we face environmental challenges. The lessons they impart remain vital in our quest to protect the earth. The fierce and untamed spirit of the Harpies calls us to recognize our role as caretakers of the planet. Their powerful wings remind us that we are not separate from nature, we are part of it. Just as the Harpies embody both chaos and order, so too must we learn to navigate the complexities of our relationship with the environment. In the heart of ancient stories, the Harpies continue to soar, echoing the rhythms of nature. Their legacy serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of balance, respect, and harmony in our lives. They inspire us to honor the wildness that exists within ourselves and in the world around us. As we listen to their haunting calls on the winds, we are urged to protect the beauty of nature, ensuring that it thrives for generations to come. As the sun sets and the skies darken, the Harpies take flight, weaving their tails through the air. They carry with them the wisdom of the ages, urging us to remember the interconnectedness of all things. With every beat of their wings, they remind us that nature is a living entity, deserving of our love and protection. In their fierce embrace of the wild, they invite us to celebrate the beauty of the natural world and to cherish the bond we share with it. In the shadows of ancient stories, the Harpy waits, a figure of beauty intertwined with danger. This mythical creature, with the body of a woman and the wings of a bird, has left an indelible mark on literature across the ages. From the echoes of the past to the narratives of today, the Harpy archetype continues to resonate, influencing how writers portray women, nature, and the chaos that often comes with them. The Harpy embodies a captivating duality. She is beautiful yet fierce, seductive yet terrifying. This complexity has inspired countless authors to create characters that mirror her essence. In medieval tales, for instance, women often took on the traits of the Harpy, powerful yet often misunderstood. These characters, much like the Harpies of old, were seen as both alluring and dangerous. They captivated the hearts of men while simultaneously instilling fear. Such depictions echoed the struggles women faced in a society that both revered and demonized them, mirroring the Harpies' conflict between grace and menace. As time moved on, the Harpy archetype evolved, finding its way into modern storytelling. In the realms of fantasy and horror, writers have reimagined the Harpy as a symbol of vengeance and justice. Characters inspired by the Harpy often appear as agents of retribution, punishing those who have wronged others. Their fierce loyalty to their causes and unyielding strength highlight the resilience of those who fight against oppression. In a world where many feel powerless, the Harpy stands as a reminder of the strength that can emerge from pain and betrayal. In literature, we find echoes of the Harpy's influence in works that explore the themes of transformation and the struggle for identity. Characters who feel trapped by societal expectations often resonate with the Harpy's plight. The internal conflict between one's true self and the roles imposed by society creates a rich tapestry for storytelling. Writers depict these characters grappling with their dual natures, much like the Harpy herself, who navigates the line between her human and avian sides. This struggle can evoke deep empathy, allowing readers to connect with the character's journey towards self-acceptance. In medieval texts, the Harpy archetype often appears in stories of knights and chivalry. Female characters inspired by Harpies can be both the source of temptation and the instigators of challenges for these knights. They draw the brave heroes into conflicts that test their honor and courage. These women, much like the Harpy, wield a power that challenges the status quo. They force men to confront their own fears and limitations, revealing the strength that can lie within those who are often seen as weaker. As we move into the Renaissance, the Harpy's influence becomes even more pronounced. Writers such as Shakespeare embraced the complexities of female characters, often portraying them as multifaceted beings capable of great passion and ferocity. In plays like Macbeth, Lady Macbeth embodies the Harpy archetype. She is ambitious, driven, and ultimately destructive, showcasing the danger that can arise when one seeks power without regard for the consequences. This portrayal reflects society's anxieties about women who defy traditional roles, emphasizing the fears surrounding their capabilities. In modern literature, the Harpy continues to evolve, appearing in various forms. Writers in genres such as fantasy and magical realism often draw on the archetype to explore themes of empowerment and resilience. Characters resembling Harpies might represent marginalized voices, rising against oppression and demanding recognition. These stories resonate in today's world, reflecting the struggles of those who fight against injustice and inequality. They illustrate the ongoing journey toward liberation and the strength that emerges from unity. The influence of the Harpy can also be seen in popular culture, where her essence lives on in films, television shows, and graphic novels. These mediums often reinterpret the Harpy, transforming her into a symbol of defiance and empowerment. Her dual nature serves as a potent reminder that beauty can exist alongside chaos, and strength can come from vulnerability. Through these representations, the Harpy continues to inspire audiences, reminding them of the power of self-expression and the importance of standing up for oneself. The archetype of the Harpy has transcended time, allowing authors to explore themes of love, loss, and the search for identity. Whether depicted as a villain, a victim, or a powerful ally, the Harpy invites readers to grapple with the complexities of human emotion. Her presence in literature serves as a mirror, reflecting society's struggles and triumphs. As characters inspired by the Harpy navigate their own journeys, they inspire readers to confront their fears, embrace their true selves, and rise above the challenges they face. In every page where her essence is felt, the Harpy whispers of a world where strength and beauty coexist. She reminds us that every story carries the weight of history and that the battles we face, whether external or internal, are part of the human experience. As we read about her descendants, we are invited to reflect on our own journeys, to embrace our dualities, and to find power in the complexity of our identities. Thus, the Harpy remains a timeless figure in literature, a powerful archetype that continues to shape narratives. Her influence can be seen in the stories that resonate with us, urging us to consider the roles we play in our own lives. In every tale, the Harpy spirit soars, reminding us of the beauty that can emerge from chaos and the strength that lies within us all. As the sun began to rise on the Renaissance, a powerful wave of creativity swept across Europe, reviving interest in ancient myths and legends. Among these timeless tales, the Harpy emerged as a fascinating figure, capturing the imagination of artists and writers alike. The Harpy, with her mesmerizing beauty and fierce demeanor, embodied the spirit of an age that sought to reconcile the past with the present. In this vibrant time, the Harpy transformed from a mere mythological creature into a symbol of deeper themes, influencing art and literature in profound ways. The Renaissance was marked by a fascination with nature, humanity, and the complexities of emotion. Artists began to depict the Harpy not just as a creature of flight, but as a multifaceted being, representing both chaos and beauty. Painters like Sandro Botticelli and Giovanni Battista Tiepolo breathed new life into the Harpy myth. They painted her with delicate features, beautiful wings, and an ethereal presence that captivated viewers. In Botticelli's works, the Harpy appears almost as a muse, embodying inspiration and the duality of femininity. Her graceful yet haunting visage invites admiration while also hinting at the danger lurking beneath her surface. In literature, the Harpy's revival echoed in the words of great writers like Ludovico Ariosto and Giovanni Boccaccio. In Ariosto's Orlando Furioso, the Harpy becomes a symbol of fate and revenge. She is portrayed as a creature that swoops down upon those who have wronged others, delivering swift justice. This portrayal resonates with the era's growing interest in human emotions and moral dilemmas. Readers were drawn to the Harpy as she represented the unpredictable nature of fate, an ever-present force that could bring beauty or chaos at any moment. Boccaccio's The Decameron also reflects this renewed fascination with the Harpy. Here, the Harpy is not just a monster but a complex character, often involved in tales that reveal the darker sides of love and desire. Boccaccio's writing invites readers to empathize with the Harpy, to see her not as a villain but as a victim of her circumstances. This shift in perspective added depth to her character and allowed audiences to explore the emotional struggles of being caught between beauty and monstrosity. The themes of transformation and duality became central to the Renaissance understanding of the Harpy. Artists and writers illustrated how appearances can be deceiving. The Harpy, with her breathtaking wings and alluring form, served as a reminder that beauty can hide darker truths. In Tiepolo's stunning frescoes, she appears almost angelic, yet her fierce claws and predatory nature hint at the dangers that lie within her character. This representation taps into a universal fear, the fear of the unknown, of what lies beneath the surface. The Harpy also became a powerful symbol of women's roles during the Renaissance. As society grappled with evolving notions of femininity, the Harpy embodied the complexities of womanhood. She was both an object of desire and a figure of power. Artists and writers drew upon her to explore themes of love, betrayal, and revenge. In many narratives, the Harpy's story mirrored the struggles women faced in a male-dominated society. She was a reflection of their strength, often arising in response to oppression. The Harpy's fierce nature could evoke sympathy, presenting her as a warrior fighting against the constraints imposed upon her. In the hands of Renaissance creators, the Harpy became a vessel for exploring the tensions between humanity and nature. Many artists painted her in wild, natural settings, emphasizing her connection to the untamed world. This association with nature added layers to her character, making her a symbol of both chaos and harmony. She reminded viewers that nature could be as beautiful as it was terrifying. The delicate balance between creation and destruction echoed through Renaissance art, reflecting the era's growing interest in the natural world and its complexities. As the Renaissance continued, the Harpy found her way into the fabric of society, appearing in tapestries, sculptures, and even architecture. The majestic wings and fierce expression adorned public spaces, inviting citizens to reflect on the dualities of life. This artistic presence solidified the Harpy's status as more than just a mythical figure. She became a cultural icon, reminding people of the intricate web of human emotion and the unpredictable nature of fate. Through the ages, the Harpy's story remained relevant, speaking to the timeless struggles of humanity. Her representation in Renaissance art and literature revealed the beauty in chaos and the strength found in vulnerability. The Harpy served as a mirror, reflecting society's fears, desires, and hopes. She was a reminder that within every struggle lies the potential for growth and transformation. In the vibrant tapestry of the Renaissance, the Harpy emerged as a compelling figure, bridging the gap between past and present. Her influence on artists and writers created a legacy that would resonate through the centuries. The Harpy story is one of resilience, complexity, and emotion, capturing the hearts of those who dared to explore the depths of her character. Through the brushstrokes of painters and the words of poets, she remains a symbol of the eternal dance between beauty and chaos, inspiring generations to reflect on the intricate layers of human experience. In a world where ancient myths collide with modern sensibilities, the Harpy flutters gracefully into contemporary culture, taking on new forms and meanings that resonate with today's audience. Once feared as fearsome creatures who snatched away the souls of the damned, Harpies have transformed into symbols of empowerment, mystery, and the duality of nature. This transformation reflects a profound shift in how society perceives femininity, power, and chaos. The Harpy, a creature born of ancient lore, now flaps her wings in literature, film, and art, inviting us to explore her complex character and the emotions she evokes. In modern literature, the Harpy has shed some of her monstrous traits, becoming a figure of resilience and strength. Authors like Rick Riordan have incorporated her into stories that blend fantasy with the relatable struggles of adolescence. In these narratives, she often represents challenges that must be faced, embodying the fierce spirit that emerges when one is pushed to the edge. Young readers find comfort in the Harpy's journey, recognizing in her the struggles of navigating their own lives. The Harpy becomes a mirror reflecting their fears, but also their power to overcome adversity. In a world where traditional gender roles are being challenged, contemporary interpretations of the Harpy also explore themes of empowerment. No longer just a creature of punishment, she is often portrayed as a misunderstood heroine, battling societal expectations. Books and films showcase her as a protector of the innocent, fierce and unyielding in her quest for justice. This portrayal resonates with many, as the Harpy embodies the fight against oppression, becoming a symbol of resistance for those who feel marginalized. Her strength inspires others to embrace their inner power, reminding them that it is okay to be fierce and unapologetic. The presence of Harpies in modern film has also sparked a renewed fascination with their character. In animated movies and fantasy epics, these winged beings take on vibrant roles that are often tied to the natural world. Unlike the ominous figures of ancient tales, contemporary Harpies are portrayed as guardians of nature, battling against environmental destruction. This shift reflects a growing awareness of ecological issues, with Harpies representing the wild spirit of the earth. Their graceful flight through treetops and fierce protection of their habitats evoke emotions tied to both beauty and urgency, making them relatable to audiences concerned about the planet's future. Artistic representations of Harpies in contemporary culture have similarly evolved. Where once they were depicted as monstrous figures, today's artists often focus on their beauty and grace. Paintings and sculptures show them with ethereal wings and captivating expressions, capturing the balance between elegance and ferocity. These modern representations encourage viewers to reconsider the traditional narratives surrounding the Harpy. No longer just a symbol of chaos, she embodies the complexities of life, beauty intertwined with danger, strength coupled with vulnerability. This duality resonates deeply, inviting viewers to reflect on their own experiences of embracing both sides of their nature. The transformation of the Harpy from a terrifying creature into a symbol of empowerment also highlights the changing landscape of gender representation in society. In the past, female figures in mythology were often relegated to roles of seduction or punishment. Today, The Harpy stands tall as a figure of strength, challenging stereotypes and breaking free from the constraints imposed upon her. This evolution inspires conversations about the roles of women in both myth and reality, encouraging a deeper understanding of what it means to be powerful and multifaceted. Contemporary interpretations of the Harpy also carry a sense of nostalgia for ancient beliefs. While she has evolved, echoes of her past still resonate in modern narratives. In a world grappling with chaos, uncertainty, and the fight for justice, the Harpy serves as a reminder of the enduring struggles faced by humanity. Her presence evokes emotions of fear and admiration, inviting audiences to confront their own inner turmoil while finding strength in vulnerability. The Harpy's journey through time reveals a tapestry of connections between the past and present. In a society that often seeks to label and confine, she embodies the idea of transformation and fluidity. By reclaiming the narrative around her character, contemporary culture allows the Harpy to inspire new generations, instilling a sense of hope and empowerment in those who identify with her struggles. Through literature, film, and art, the Harpy continues to soar, inviting us to embrace our complexities, confront our fears, and stand strong in the face of adversity. As we witness her evolution, we can't help but feel a sense of connection, an emotional thread that binds us to her story. The Harpy, with her fierce spirit and captivating beauty, reminds us of the power of transformation and the importance of embracing all aspects of our identities. In this modern age, the Harpy no longer exists solely in the shadows of myth. She has become a cultural icon, representing the fight for justice, the power of resilience, and the beauty of duality. As we navigate our own lives, we can look to her as a source of inspiration, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we possess the strength to rise and take flight. The Harpy, with her haunting beauty and fierce demeanor, stirs something deep within the human psyche. She embodies a unique blend of strength and vulnerability, capturing the hearts and fears of those who encounter her in myth and art. This powerful figure acts as a psychological symbol, resonating with our innermost emotions and representing complex archetypes. The image of the Harpy taps into our collective unconscious, making her a mirror reflecting the struggles and fears we all share. From a psychological perspective, the Harpy represents the archetype of the feminine, entwined with themes of chaos, transformation, and retribution. Many see her as a figure that embodies the raw and untamed aspects of femininity. In a world often structured by rules and expectations, the Harpy breaks those boundaries, reminding us of the primal instincts that lie just beneath the surface. This juxtaposition of beauty and menace evokes feelings of fascination and fear. People are drawn to her because she encapsulates the complexity of the female experience: strength, anger, vulnerability, and the desire for freedom. In many ways, the Harpy also symbolizes our deepest fears. She stands at the crossroads of our anxieties about losing control and the chaos that can ensue when emotions run high. When faced with overwhelming situations, the Harpy's presence can be both a warning and an encouragement. She urges us to confront the parts of ourselves we may fear, the anger we suppress, the desires we hide, and the instincts we ignore. This confrontation can be unsettling, yet it is also liberating. By acknowledging these shadow aspects, we find the strength to embrace our whole selves. The imagery of the Harpy resonates deeply within the collective unconscious, an idea popularized by psychologist Carl Jung. This concept suggests that certain symbols and themes are shared across cultures and time, stemming from our shared human experience. The Harpy serves as a potent symbol in this regard. Her wings signify the desire for freedom, while her fierce demeanor embodies the power of nature and the unpredictability of life. This duality connects with everyone on some level, evoking emotions tied to both liberation and fear. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, the Harpy serves as a reminder of the power we hold within ourselves. She challenges us to confront our fears and embrace the chaos that often accompanies growth and transformation. In literature and art, she has evolved into a figure of resilience, inspiring countless individuals to reclaim their narratives. When we see her portrayed as a protector of the earth or a warrior for justice, we recognize the strength within us to stand up against adversity. Moreover, the Harpy's association with nature adds another layer to her psychological symbolism. She is often depicted as a creature that bridges the human and natural worlds. This connection reminds us of the balance we must maintain with the environment and the consequences of ignoring that balance. The Harpy, with her wings stretched wide, invites us to acknowledge our relationship with nature, its beauty, chaos, and the inherent cycles of life. This connection to the earth stirs a deep sense of belonging and calls upon us to care for the world around us. The Harpy's image also raises questions about the roles women play in society. She challenges traditional stereotypes, forcing us to confront the rigid definitions of femininity that have long persisted. Her fierce nature and independence evoke emotions tied to the fight for gender equality, making her a symbol of empowerment for women everywhere. When we embrace the Harpy spirit, we find the courage to stand up for ourselves and demand our place in a world that sometimes tries to silence us. In therapy and personal growth, the Harpy can serve as a guiding symbol. For those grappling with anger, fear, or the feeling of being trapped, her image encourages a confrontation with these emotions. The process of acknowledging and embracing our fears can lead to profound healing. Instead of viewing our emotions as burdens, we can see them as powerful forces that propel us toward growth and self-discovery. The Harpy becomes a mentor in this journey, reminding us that it is okay to express our true selves and to rise above the constraints imposed by society. Through her multifaceted nature, the Harpy resonates with anyone who has ever felt misunderstood or overwhelmed. She embodies the chaos that can come with personal struggles, but she also represents the strength needed to rise above them. Her fierce spirit encourages individuals to embrace their complexities, reminding them that it is possible to be both beautiful and powerful. When we acknowledge the Harpy within us, we find the courage to face our fears and pursue our passions unapologetically. In popular culture, the Harpy continues to evoke emotions that speak to our collective experiences. Her presence in stories and art stirs a sense of nostalgia while also reminding us of the relevance of her symbolism in today's world. As we navigate the challenges of life, the Harpy stands as a beacon of hope, a reminder that we can harness our inner strength and embrace our wild side. The Harpy's story unfolds within the tapestry of our lives, urging us to confront our fears and celebrate our strengths. She is not just a mythological figure, she is an integral part of our psychological landscape. Her image lingers in our collective unconscious, serving as a powerful reminder of the beauty and complexity of the human experience. Through her, we learn to embrace our dualities and to find the courage to take flight, no matter how turbulent the winds of life may be. Harpies have soared from the ancient pages of mythology into the vibrant tapestry of contemporary media, capturing the imagination of audiences in powerful ways. These winged figures, once feared and revered, are now reinterpreted in films, books, and video games, where they serve as both symbols and characters that evoke a range of emotions. The evolution of the Harpy reflects our changing cultural landscape, resonating deeply with themes of empowerment, chaos, and the complex nature of femininity. In many contemporary films, Harpies are depicted with a fierce elegance that demands attention. They are no longer just malevolent spirits. Instead, they embody a raw strength and independence. In some animated features, these creatures are shown as protectors of nature, guardians who fight against oppression and injustice. Their fierce wings and determined gazes symbolize the struggle for freedom, echoing the real-life battles faced by those who feel marginalized or silenced. This portrayal inspires a sense of hope and resilience, reminding audiences that even in darkness, there is power to be found. Books also offer fresh interpretations of the Harpy. In fantasy novels, these characters often possess rich backstories, revealing their struggles and triumphs. They are portrayed not merely as villains, but as complex individuals grappling with their identity. This depth adds a human touch to their mythological roots, allowing readers to connect with their journeys. For instance, a Harpy might be depicted as someone torn between their wild nature and their desire for acceptance. Such stories resonate with readers who have felt like outsiders or have battled against societal expectations. These narratives reflect a broader understanding of what it means to be a woman in today's world, strong, fierce, and unapologetically true to oneself. In the world of video games, Harpies have transformed into compelling characters that players can either confront or ally with. Game developers have taken advantage of the Harpies' dual nature, creating scenarios where players must navigate the fine line between fear and respect. In these games, Harpies often challenge players to confront their fears and make difficult choices. The interactive nature of video games allows for an emotional investment that can be profound. Players experience firsthand the struggles and triumphs of these characters, forging a bond that mirrors the complexity of real-life relationships. The representation of Harpies in contemporary media often carries significant cultural weight. As discussions around gender equality and female empowerment continue to gain momentum, the Harpy serves as a potent symbol of the complexities of womanhood. In a society that frequently seeks to pigeonhole women into narrow roles, the Harpy breaks free from those confines. She embodies the wild spirit, the fierce protector, and the misunderstood outcast. This multifaceted representation resonates deeply with audiences, especially women who find themselves navigating the expectations and pressures of modern life. Moreover, the Harpy's presence in popular media often challenges stereotypes. No longer just monstrous beings to be feared, they are depicted as characters with agency and depth. This shift reflects a broader societal change in how we view femininity and strength. As audiences engage with these stories, they begin to question and redefine what it means to be powerful. The Harpy, with her wings spread wide, becomes a symbol of liberation, inviting viewers to embrace their true selves, flaws and all. In addition to empowerment, the Harpy's chaotic nature serves as a reminder of the unpredictability of life. In various media, they embody the wildness of nature, symbolizing both beauty and danger. This duality mirrors the complexities of human emotions, how joy can coexist with sorrow, and strength can emerge from vulnerability. By embracing this chaos, contemporary interpretations of the Harpy encourage audiences to find beauty in their struggles. It's a poignant reminder that every battle fought contributes to personal growth, and every moment of chaos can lead to transformation. The Harpy's cultural significance extends beyond individual narratives. She represents the collective yearning for freedom and acceptance in a world that often feels constricting. As more creators incorporate Harpies into their work, they tap into a rich vein of mythology that speaks to timeless truths about the human experience. Audiences are drawn to these stories not just for their entertainment value but for their emotional resonance. The Harpy serves as a reflection of our desires, fears, and aspirations, reminding us that our struggles are shared and that we can find strength in our vulnerability. In essence, the Harpy's evolution in popular media is a testament to the power of storytelling. As she flits through the pages of books, soars across the screens of films, and battles alongside players in video games, she brings with her a legacy of resilience and strength. These modern portrayals encourage audiences to confront their fears, embrace their wildness, and find empowerment in their narratives. In doing so, the Harpy has transcended her mythological origins, becoming a symbol of the beauty found in chaos and the strength that arises from embracing one's true self. Through the lens of contemporary culture, the Harpy becomes more than a mythological creature. She transforms into an archetype that resonates with the human spirit. As viewers and readers engage with her story, they are reminded that they, too, possess the strength to rise above their struggles. The Harpy's flight is not just a journey through the skies, but a poignant reminder that, despite the storms we face, we can always find the courage to soar. The Harpy has long been seen as a monstrous figure in mythology, often associated with chaos and punishment. Yet, in recent years, this ancient creature has emerged as a powerful symbol in feminist discourse. She represents not just fear or danger, but the reclaiming of feminine power, the complexity of women's experiences, and the strength that can be found in defiance. In examining the Harpy through a feminist lens, we uncover a narrative of empowerment and resilience that resonates deeply with women today. To understand the Harpy as a feminist symbol, we must first consider her portrayal throughout history. Traditionally, she has been depicted as a winged monster, stealing and punishing men, often in grotesque and terrifying ways. This representation speaks volumes about societal views of women who dare to assert their power or disrupt the status quo. The Harpy embodies the fears of a patriarchal society that sees strong women as threats. However, this view has begun to shift as more voices and feminist theories challenge these outdated narratives. Today, feminists are reclaiming the Harpy, transforming her into a figure of strength and defiance. In modern narratives, the Harpy is no longer just a creature to be feared. Instead, she becomes a symbol of the fierce independence that many women strive for. By embracing her chaotic nature, women are encouraged to reject the constraints that society often places on them. The Harpy represents the wildness within, a celebration of emotions, instincts, and desires that are often suppressed. This reclamation process is both empowering and healing. Women who identify with the Harpy can see themselves reflected in her fierce spirit and in her struggles against oppression. The narrative transforms from one of punishment to one of resilience. The Harpy's fierce wings become a symbol of freedom, representing the fight against the societal norms that seek to bind women. She challenges the status quo, inspiring others to break free from their chains and embrace their true selves. In literature and art, the modern depiction of the Harpy serves as a reminder that women can be complex and multifaceted. No longer are they confined to roles of nurturers or seductresses. The Harpy embodies strength, independence, and the courage to stand up for what is right. Her fierce nature invites discussions around the struggles women face and the societal expectations that often weigh them down. In contemporary feminist narratives, the Harpy is often portrayed as a misunderstood figure. This perspective fosters empathy and connection. Rather than simply dismissing her as a monster, we begin to explore her story. What led her to become this fierce creature? What struggles did she face? By exploring these questions, we find common ground in our experiences. Women everywhere can relate to feeling misunderstood, judged, or ostracized. The Harpy becomes a voice for those who have been silenced, allowing them to reclaim their narratives. Art and literature are powerful tools for reclaiming the Harpy figure. Artists and writers use her image to challenge traditional narratives and offer new perspectives. In this space, the Harpy can take on different forms, sometimes as a heroine fighting against injustice, sometimes as a guide leading others to liberation. This versatility allows the Harpy to resonate with diverse audiences, sparking conversations about gender, power, and identity. In discussions around the Harpy, feminist critiques also highlight the intersectionality of her representation. While the Harpy symbolizes strength for many, it's essential to recognize that not all women relate to her in the same way. The stories surrounding her can illuminate issues of race, class, and sexuality, expanding the conversation around femininity. This broadening of the narrative encourages inclusivity and understanding, allowing for a more profound exploration of what it means to be a woman in today's world. Reclaiming the Harpy also speaks to a larger movement within feminist discourse, the acceptance of femininity's multifaceted nature. Women are not one-dimensional beings. They are strong yet vulnerable, fierce yet nurturing, chaotic yet calm. The Harpy embodies these contradictions, encouraging women to embrace all parts of themselves without shame. This journey towards self-acceptance can be both liberating and transformative. In modern media, the Harpy is beginning to appear in stories where she stands as a symbol of female empowerment. In these narratives, she is often depicted as a guardian of the oppressed, fiercely protecting those who cannot protect themselves. This shift not only redefines her role but also invites women to see themselves as protectors and warriors in their own lives. The Harpy becomes a mentor figure, guiding others toward their own power and strength. The impact of the Harpy in feminist discourse reaches beyond literature and art. It infiltrates everyday conversations about womanhood. By reclaiming her image, women are encouraged to confront their fears and challenges. The Harpy represents the chaos of life and the strength found in overcoming it. Her presence serves as a reminder that embracing one's wildness can lead to profound transformation. As feminist discourse continues to evolve, the Harpy will undoubtedly remain a symbol of the struggle for empowerment. She embodies the fight against societal norms, the embrace of one's true self, and the beauty found in strength and chaos. By reclaiming the Harpy figure, women not only rewrite her narrative but also rewrite their own. They find solidarity in shared struggles and celebrate the wildness that lies within. In this journey of reclamation, the Harpy becomes a beacon of hope, reminding women everywhere that they can rise above the limitations placed on them. Her fierce wings inspire a generation to break free, embrace their complexities, and reclaim their power. The Harpy is no longer a figure of fear, she is a symbol of empowerment, a reminder of the strength found in embracing the wild, chaotic beauty of womanhood. The Harpy has transformed over the centuries from a terrifying figure into a complex symbol that resonates with many today. Once seen as monsters of chaos and punishment, these winged creatures have evolved into icons of empowerment and resilience. The journey of the Harpy myth reflects not only changing societal values, but also the enduring struggle for understanding and acceptance of femininity in all its forms. In ancient mythology, Harpies were often depicted as fearsome creatures with the bodies of birds and the faces of women. They were known to swoop down from the skies, stealing people and things, embodying the chaos of nature. Their very existence spoke to the fears of a world where the forces of nature were wild and unpredictable. In this way, the Harpy symbolized the uncontrollable aspects of life, particularly the wrath of the gods. This portrayal painted them as beings to be feared, warning humanity of the consequences of angering divine powers. As time went on, the narratives surrounding Harpies began to shift. In Greek mythology, they were often seen as agents of retribution, punishing those who committed sins or transgressions. In this context, they acted almost like a moral compass, serving to uphold justice by delivering punishment. While still feared, the Harpies became associated with the idea of balance between good and evil. Their role in the stories began to show that they were not just random forces of destruction, but were serving a purpose, however harsh it may have seemed. When the Romans adopted the myth of the Harpy, they added layers to her story. In Roman literature, Harpies were often portrayed as more than mere beasts. They became symbols of the uncontrollable forces of nature, blending beauty with terror. This duality reflected the complexities of the human experience. The Romans recognized that while the Harpy could bring chaos, she could also represent freedom and wildness, something that resonated with their own cultural values. This transition allowed the Harpy to become a reflection of both the beauty and the chaos found in nature and humanity. As history moved forward into the Middle Ages and Renaissance, the Harpy's image began to shift even more. During these times, she was often used as a cautionary symbol, warning against the dangers of temptation and the consequences of unchecked desires. While the fearsome aspects remained, the Harpy also became a complex character, embodying the struggle between desire and restraint. This transformation highlighted the dual nature of femininity, one that could inspire both awe and fear. The Harpy became a reminder that women could wield power, but that power often came with consequences. In literature and art during the Renaissance, the Harpy was portrayed in ways that celebrated her fierce nature. Artists began to depict her with an air of majesty, highlighting both her beauty and her monstrous side. This portrayal reflected a growing fascination with the complexities of female characters. The Harpy began to symbolize not just chaos, but also strength and defiance. Women were starting to see themselves in her story, recognizing that the wildness often associated with femininity could also be a source of empowerment. As we moved into the modern era, the Harpy myth continued to evolve. In contemporary literature and film, the Harpy has taken on new meanings. Rather than simply being a figure of chaos, she represents the fight for individuality and freedom. No longer just a monster, the Harpy has become a symbol of resistance against societal norms and expectations. The stories now focus on her struggle for identity and autonomy, emphasizing the importance of embracing one's true self, flaws and all. Today, the Harpy is often seen as a misunderstood figure. This perspective invites empathy and connection, allowing audiences to relate to her experiences. The narrative surrounding her now explores themes of agency, power, and the reclamation of femininity. Women resonate with the Harpy's struggles, recognizing her journey as one of resilience against oppression. This transformation reflects a larger societal shift towards understanding and accepting the complexity of women's experiences. The continuity of the Harpy's symbolism is striking. While her image has changed dramatically, the underlying themes of power, chaos, and resilience remain central to her narrative. The fear that once surrounded the Harpy has given way to admiration, as people recognize her strength in overcoming adversity. The Harpy now embodies the duality of femininity, celebrating both the wild and the nurturing aspects of womanhood. The evolution of the Harpy myth speaks volumes about society's changing attitudes towards women. As we move forward, the Harpy continues to challenge and inspire, reminding us of the strength found in embracing our complexities. Her journey from monster to symbol of empowerment serves as a powerful narrative of transformation. Today, she stands as a testament to the resilience of women everywhere, embodying the fight for identity and the celebration of individuality. As the Harpy myth continues to unfold, it reflects our ongoing struggle to understand and embrace the wildness within ourselves. The story of the Harpy teaches us that chaos can lead to growth and transformation, reminding us that beauty can exist alongside fear. The Harpy's legacy is one of strength, resilience, and the importance of embracing our true selves, flaws and all. The Harpy myth resonates with an emotional depth that captures the complexities of human nature and society. This tale is not merely about creatures who swoop down to punish, it speaks to deeper themes that touch the core of our existence. The stories of the Harpies reflect our struggles, fears, and ultimately, our quest for understanding. As we examine these narratives, we uncover valuable lessons about morality, human behavior, and the consequences of our actions. At first glance, the Harpies appear to be fearsome beings, embodying chaos and wrath. However, beneath this frightening exterior lies a powerful message about justice and retribution. The myth shows us that actions have consequences, a truth that echoes throughout human history. When individuals commit wrongdoing, whether against nature or against one another, there are repercussions. The Harpies serve as reminders that we cannot escape the fallout of our choices. Their role in punishing the guilty illustrates the need for accountability in society. In this way, the myth urges us to reflect on our own actions and the impact they have on others. The duality of the Harpy, both beautiful and monstrous, invites us to confront our own complexities. Just as the Harpy is a blend of fear and fascination, human beings too carry conflicting traits. We all possess the potential for kindness and cruelty, love and hate. This reality prompts us to examine our nature and embrace the full spectrum of our humanity. The Harpy's story teaches us that to be human is to grapple with these contradictions. Rather than shying away from our darker impulses, we are encouraged to confront them, understanding that they are part of what makes us whole. Furthermore, the Harpy myth sheds light on the treatment of women and the broader societal attitudes toward femininity. Historically, women have often been depicted in dichotomous terms, either as nurturing figures or dangerous seductresses. The Harpy embodies this tension. She is both a victim of her nature and a powerful force. This reflects how society often demonizes women who assert their power or challenge norms. The lessons we glean from the Harpy remind us of the importance of empathy and understanding in our treatment of others, particularly those who are different or who do not conform to traditional roles. Recognizing the humanity in every individual, regardless of their nature, becomes a moral imperative. As the Harpy evolves from a monster into a symbol of resilience, we learn about the importance of perspective. Stories can be told from many angles, and how we choose to interpret them shapes our understanding of the world. The Harpy is not simply a villain, she is a reflection of the struggle for identity and autonomy. Her transformation highlights the need to challenge stereotypes and explore the richness of each character's story. This is a powerful reminder that everyone carries a story worth hearing, and that our judgments can often be misguided. Ethical considerations derived from the Harpy myth compel us to think about the role of power in society. The Harpies, while fearsome, also represent the power of nature and the unpredictability of the world around us. Their existence prompts us to reflect on our relationship with the environment. Are we stewards of the earth, or do we exploit it for our gain? The Harpy's connection to the chaotic forces of nature serves as a call to respect the balance of our ecosystem. Ignoring this balance can lead to dire consequences, not just for the earth, but for humanity as a whole. Moreover, the ethical lessons of the Harpy myth extend to our interactions with one another. The harsh realities faced by those who cross moral lines prompt us to reflect on our own behavior and our treatment of others. The fear of retribution that the Harpies instill serves as a cautionary tale about the need for compassion and understanding. The myths remind us that every action, no matter how small, can have profound effects. Practicing kindness and empathy in our daily lives can help create a ripple effect of positivity in the world around us. The Harpy story also resonates with themes of liberation and defiance. As society evolves, so does our understanding of empowerment. The Harpy, once seen merely as a creature of chaos, can now be viewed as a symbol of breaking free from constraints and embracing one's true nature. This aspect of the myth encourages us to challenge societal expectations and norms that seek to limit our potential. It urges us to reclaim our narratives and express our identities without fear of judgment. In moments of personal struggle or societal conflict, the Harpy serves as a reminder of resilience. She illustrates the idea that even in the face of adversity, there is strength to be found. The journey of the Harpy reflects our own paths, filled with obstacles, choices, and the potential for transformation. Her tale encourages us to embrace our struggles and emerge from them stronger and wiser. These reflections on the Harpy myth ultimately lead to a deeper understanding of human nature. The complexities within us mirror the duality of the Harpy. By recognizing our flaws and strengths, we can strive for a more compassionate and just society. The lessons learned from the Harpy's tale challenge us to think critically about our actions, the way we treat others, and the stories we tell. They inspire us to create a world where empathy, accountability, and understanding reign. The Harpy myth continues to resonate today, reminding us that we are all capable of both beauty and destruction. In every choice we make, we have the power to shape our destiny and the destinies of those around us. As we navigate the complexities of our lives, let us carry the lessons of the Harpy with us, allowing her story to inspire us to be better, to act with kindness, and to embrace the wild beauty of our shared humanity.